right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Fletch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part, so make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch. You can get your own Revenge Trump mousepad only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join. Link is pinned at the top of the chat, and 24/7 we're in there hanging out, having a great time, and you should definitely come and join us. It is absolutely free to come and join. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month, half the cup of a cost of a cup of coffee. Members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff, but also opens up the full Discord. So, of course, we do have the free channel, but we have plenty of other text channels, and we have the voice channel, where as soon as we're done here, we are headed over there for an after party. You don't have to worry about any YouTube censors or anything like that, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. And speaking of join us, we got my co-host, Morty, in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, you guys know that every donation comes with a treat for Morty. All right, we got Richard in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also got Matthew King. What are we saying here? Matthew said, I will never push my moral standards on another adult. If they want to be trans, they can. But me and my family will not be playing along. Fair enough, fair enough. And Richard saying a lot of the similar or a similar thing. And quote, I don't care if you're an adult and do it. Just don't do it to the kids. Okay. So I don't care if you're an adult to do it, but just do it to the kids is a cop-out, fence-sitting line that low information people use because children clearly emulate what they see adults do. So you're not even addressing the problem with it getting pushed on kids if you're addressing the problem with it being pushed on adults as well. So we will definitely dive into all of that. If you didn't know, welcome to the party, guys. If you didn't know, I was at DebateCon this weekend, held in Newark, New Jersey by Uncensored America, Atheists for Liberty, who I am still repping, Atheists for Liberty, and of course, Modern Day Debate. It was a really cool 2 days of debates and stuff, and we're definitely going to have something more specific talking about, the experience itself. But I was recording a podcast with Andrew Wilson that will be released soon, I think, but not a live thing. It was more of a podcast. So I missed this debate. Should trans children be allowed to transition? With Brianna Wu and who is it? Witsit. Not super familiar with him, but apparently he's a flat earther. So another show where we're kind of in between two different positions, because as Richard did bring up here, I do hold the position. I don't care if you're an adult and you do it, just don't do it to kids, as does Matthew. But Richard is saying that's a cop-out. So let's see. Let's dive right in. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know. I was watching through this. The volume is a little bit quiet at first, but it picks up. All right, let's do it.
Hi, my name is Brianna Wu. I am a software engineer. Most people know me from Gamergate. I ran for Congress. And a few months ago, I finally decided to come out and start talking about trans issues more openly. I feel really strongly that the course we're on is a really, really destructive one. So just setting the tone today, if you're looking for the progressive line, that hardcore line, like should all kids be able to transition, I'm the wrong guest for you. Like, I'm not going to come here with moralism today. We're going to talk through the science of what we know and who this is beneficial for.
And of course, this is Brianna Wu, transitioned person. I'm probably going to refer to her as she just because it's easier. We have a man and identifying woman. I don't really care to make it harder for myself to be like, well, it's actually that's a he. It's just it's easier for me, so I'm going to do it what's easier for me. And then Witsit is the other guy that will open shortly.
So I think if we are talking about children transitioning, it is really helpful to separate this into 3 cohorts and really 2 different subtypes of each cohort. And I'm going to go through it really quickly. So the first one is what I'm going to call the non-binary political project. All these kids that decide they're halfway between things, should they be allowed to transition? The answer to this is clearly no. There's no study I can point to that shows this helps them. There's no protocol to even identify these people. So either autistic or not autistic, I think that answer is very clearly no. The second group I want to talk about is natal females that want to transition to be boys. Should they be allowed to transition? I think a little bit of historical context is very helpful for this. When I transitioned 20 years ago, or the people before me transitioned, overwhelmingly, this was people like me. It was natal boys that wanted to be women. You can go back 3,000 years in
Just boys being boys.
history, and you can see people like me. We were Roman priestesses that castrated ourselves and decided to go live as women.
A practice I definitely think is something that we should pay attention to and follow. We should all be castrating ourselves for the church, right?
New cohort of female to male transsexuals is actually very, very new. And I don't know if people know this. They've actually replaced us in massive numbers. There are many, many more natal females transitioning today than natal males. So if we're looking at their healthcare, should they be allowed to transition? To me, this answer is also no. I don't see any danger in making them wait until they're 18. Testosterone is so powerful, as our very macho men in the audience here can show you. It will work as well at 15 as it will at 25. There's no rush to getting these natal females any help with this. Additionally, the overwhelming majority of the detransitioners, the people that transition and don't like it, are natal females. The overwhelming bulk of this. So the autistic ones particularly have some other issues. Who is the third group here? It's the people like me, natal males that want to grow up and be females.
Natal males that want to grow up to be females. If you're in the chat and the video is too much lower than my mic, I can turn my mic down so you can turn your stuff up. Just let me know. But like I said, it does get better. As you can see, she's not really talking directly into the mic, and that will change. And so what she's doing here is trying to intellectualize this notion of transitioning into, well, there's the bad kinds. Of course, we all agree on the bad kinds, but there's good kinds too, for children specifically.
And this is where I do think we need a pathway for some people to be able to transition. And to be really clear here,
hey, shout out to Guam Ted. Welcome to the party. So it sounds okay. I remember listening to this yesterday, and Brianna sounded low the whole time. All right, so welcome to the party, Guam Tech. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for the thank you for this. I'm going to turn myself down to 75%. And just I could go up and down. Obviously, I can't turn the video up, but let me know. Hey, shout out to our boy Funk Master General. Welcome to the party. Starting us off with our swole goal. No question, no comment. Just pure love of the Overlord. Thank you. So very, very much welcome to the party, sir. Always a pleasure. And of course, guys, don't forget to look at the top of the chat. We got a swole goal. We got a bulk me up. Thank you, and welcome to the party.
A pathway for some people to be able to transition. And to be really clear here, the clinical protocol are way too low. We're medicalizing way too many of these kids. But the reality is testosterone is so powerful that if you're forcing these young boys to go through puberty, they're going to have a much harder time passing and integrating in life.
So you can see in the corner here, this is the manifold voting thing. It's similar to like the poly markets, and it's basically just, who agrees. And so since she is taking the yes, then the number is going to respond to how many people are agreeing with her. So we're starting out with her at only 14%, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I hope we can get into the psychological damage and also the plastic surgery and the contraindications you have to go through if you do delay that. So what I'm really hoping I can have today with my esteemed co-panelist here today is not a moralized conversation, but one really rooted in healthcare policy, and one that does not have like abstract political objectives as the highest principle. What we've got to be talking about here is individual patient outcomes. So thank you very much for coming.
So yeah, that's her whole argument. excuse me, her whole argument is, well, there's certain types of transit that's just way too much, but there's certain types of transit that's not that bad. Similar to how people who are pro-abortion will be like, well, the 9-month abortion is bad, but I mean, at 20 weeks, then and it's not addressing the core issue of why you would want certain aspects of transition not to be there. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome to the party, sir. Always a pleasure to see ya. Welcome. Young one told me about what is it? Witsit here, right? Apparently he's a flat earther. Hey man. I'm just here for the debates. Welcome.
Here's individual patient outcomes. So thank you very much for coming.
I'm gonna come.
Witsit, we'll turn the floor over to you now, sir, for a 5-minute opening.
Thank you very much. All right, so I'll be pretty blunt about my position here. Any form of a child being allowed to transition is child abuse. Even the mere possibility that a singular child would then grow up and change its mind completely eliminates any moral groundwork for claiming that they should be allowed to transition.
I think that is a little bit extreme. There's plenty of things that we do in society that are completely normal that have the chance that children could get injured, and that's not enough to say it should be banned. But this specifically, because there's no, it doesn't seem like there's any positive that outweighs that, and it seems like Brianna's going to try to argue that, but ain't there.
Now, obviously, this position is not the more progressive and extreme one, which is that all children should be able to, and it's a violation of human rights if they're not allowed to.
Haram!
But any sexualization of children is child abuse. And when I was a child, I wasn't talking about sex. I wasn't trying to memorize pronouns. I wasn't trying to figure out if I wanted to be what I was.
That's that shit. Me neither.
I was playing with my friends outside, and it is an atrocity that we've normalized this. So
boys being boys.
To get into more of the specifics, there is something called autogynephilia. Okay, and it is
AGP. Put one in the chat if you are not familiar with what autogynephilia is. Actually, I think he's about to define it.
Core of what actually goes on with most of the transgenderism. So you have men dressing up as women, and it's because they are sexually aroused at
that's the part of it.
The idea of being a woman, being perceived as a woman, etc.
So this is we don't know the numbers exactly because of all this self-ID stuff, but there is at least a significant portion of adult men who are transitioning or just cross-dressing because they get sexually aroused at the fact that they're being perceived that way. And while I also don't necessarily think that should be illegal, we have to understand that that's a different thing than some kid who thinks they're in the wrong body and all of this kind of stuff. It's just different.
I was at the idea of being a woman, being perceived as a woman, etc. And so that is a fetish. That is actually sexual deviancy. So to even introduce this idea to children, certainly in a public setting, is child abuse. You're teaching a child about a sexual fetish. Okay, now that is actually the core of it. And as was pointed out, I mean, the vast majority of transgenderism is male to female. So
shout out to Atheists for Liberty. And Richard, let me know if you're still here, because I want to address what you're saying to you, not just openly, because I do think it comes up later, so I can address it. But if you are here, let me know.
And the vast majority of transgenderism is male to female. So either way, you should not be teaching children this. And I'll obviously address some of the basics most people probably know. When someone wants to detransition, but they find out that these chemicals that they've taken, all of the medicine that they've gone, God forbid, surgery that they've undergone, it's irreversible. And oftentimes they want to commit suicide because they feel like.
Well, that's not what I was told by the trans activists who make a whole lot of money transing kids. If we remember, What is a Woman? We had that, I don't think it was the first teacher was in there saying, it's just like pressing pause on a song. And when you take these hormones, you can just press play and the song picks up right where it was. That is not true. That is a lie.
It's irreversible. And oftentimes they want to commit suicide because they feel like there is no way out. And actually, the suicide data is overwhelming and has been basically buried. So one of the other points I want to make kind of in the closing of the opener, I guess, is that a large motivation for pushing this is not just political, it's actually financially driven, because there's an entire additional stream of revenue for doctors performing these surgeries and insurance companies that they originally did not have.
And now you got a lifetime patient.
And so they turn their head to anything. They open up any study that would allow for them to be able to introduce this new additional revenue. So not only are we abusing children, we're doing so that certain companies and doctors can line their pockets for these surgeries. So I will just bluntly say, I think it is completely unacceptable across the board. It is literally child abuse. I think that any adult that sexualizes children or tries to convince them they can do this, much less gives them any of this medicine or chemicals or anything like that, even the psychological or emotional transitioning, should be a crime. You should not be allowed to do that to children. They are innocent.
The social, I mean, we can get into the more specifics, but again, the social transition is not even a real thing in the sense that, like, if a little boy wants to wear a dress, then that shouldn't be in and of itself an issue. We shouldn't have to take that as a sign that, oh, this person has something wrong with them, born the wrong way. Like, kids don't know this stuff, and that's the entire point. That just as an adult, when you see signals that align with what you want reality to be, and then you press that on the child, it doesn't go well. Guanzek said Brianna gets so close to getting it right. She understands that it's harmful in general, but still leaves a caveat, and it just so happens that she's open to what she personally chose to do. Well, isn't that convenient? Buckmaster General said, is dressing up like a wombat and dancing around in your driveway considered AGP? I mean, depends on how hot the wombat is. King says, if it gets you going, then yes. There you go. There you go.
Should be a crime. You should not be allowed to do that to children. They are innocent, and you are warping their mind and putting them in a position that will allow them to be, or cause them to be, much more prone to suicidal thoughts. So that is my take. I have a pretty hard stance on it. I'm an absolutist. You should not be allowing children to transition at all. So.
Haram!
But hey, no kink shaming. No, just don't do it in my driveway.
All right. Thank you for those opening statements. Before I forget, yet once again, we have been doing manifold votes. So after hearing their opening statements, those who think that Brianna is going to make the most,
All right, I'm just going to skip this, and they're just going to ask who
think
agrees.
that Witsit
Want to add, the reason that we're doing that is because Manifold is a sponsor of DebateCon. You can check out the link in the description box below. If you're watching at home, Manifold is the world's largest social prediction market.
So damn, just from the openings, you went from what was it, 13 or 14 down to 10%. 10%. Guys, if you are enjoying this stream, please do hit that like button. It helps out so very much, and it's free.
And you can predict at home via the link, or if you want to look it up on Manifold now with the app, you can predict who will be most persuasive in this debate. Thanks to our sponsor, Manifold. And with that, thank you very much. Wow.
And with that, the floor is all yours for 60
let's
minutes.
go.
I want to really get into this. Like, respectfully, I could sit here and spend 2 hours fact checking all those claims she made, because
Source.
It's so difficult. It's a fire hose. Like,
I you know what? Even right there, I don't think she's right in saying I could spend 2 hours fact checking. Based on what? We don't have the science for this stuff, and especially long-term studies. I've been saying, when did What Is a Woman come out? When we were watching that, there was the person, Scott, at the end, who was talking about, the skin grafts that he had to have and all this stuff. And the magic number of 7 to 10 years after transition is when people are most likely to self-delete. So even though she says that, I'm sure that there's studies out there, but what are they worth? What are they worth?
claim she made, because it's just it's so difficult. It's a fire hose. Like, you're saying stuff that's kind of true, but it's
Okay, then debunk it.
it's not really true. So I guess this is my grand question to you. What kind of discussion are we having here today? I think if we're talking about healthcare policy, it makes the most sense to talk about studies, what we know, scientific labeling of things, really examine these claims that we made. The overarching theme for everything you're saying seemed to be moralizing, like something straight out of the religious right, or what we know the progressives are always doing. You can't say this, you can't do this. So which way would you like this to go? Do you want to talk about the science, or do you want to get into your heavily moralized discussion here?
Before we go into that, Kane said, did you tell Wilson a projection? I know you didn't say it again and again. Don't even think about the words and again, what?
What?
I did not say that to him. He was not projecting. And it's very interesting. So, for those of you who are not in the Discord, yes, while this debate was going on, I was in Newark to see it. But there was a podcast recording in the morning for a Jubilee style, not really a Jubilee style, but it was just a 4v1 debate, but it was one at a time. And so Andrew Wilson had his list of topics, and then Rachel came in with a couple of hers, his wife. But he would have the topic, and then we would each have 5 minutes to discuss what that topic was. And so he would say something like, rights don't exist, there is only force. And so I'm like, well, I mean, I kind of agree with you, man, but where are we going with that? Because I'm going to assume that our conclusions from that don't agree. So I'm really excited, and obviously I'm biased. But I think I was the best one. And there was one dude who straight up just dipped out. The first question, he started talking, then he wasn't really doing too well. And then the second question came around, and immediately he was just like, I got to concede. And he's like, I don't think this is for me. I don't think this is for me. And I mean, fair enough. It's definitely nerve-wracking to be in that situation, especially if you have this parasocial relationship with Andrew Wilson, being like, oh, it's Andrew Wilson, the butt sport debater. And I do think that got into people's heads a little bit. Quantek said, I had to ask myself if I would be more open to her position if it was a cis person presenting it. You mean a normal person? I wouldn't be in favor, but I might take it more seriously if it wasn't coming from her. She's too ball in on the subject. Yeah, balls to the wall, but still, actually, no balls to the wall, right? I don't know. You bring up a very good point, but I think that is precisely the type of thing that we address on this channel, that we aren't looking to, because I don't like this person, I'm not going to listen to their ideas. But I'm personally am doing my best to not let this affect how I'm perceiving what she's saying. Like I'm trying to go based off the words, and so it definitely is a good question. But you're absolutely right that it's just too convenient that exactly the way that my life was lived as a trans person. If everybody did that, then everything would be perfect. Like, okay, but that's not what it is. Got him. All right, so she's again pulling the moral high ground and saying, are we going to have a real discussion, or are you just going to talk about emotions? And then she's going to talk a bunch about her emotions.
Just using the word science doesn't mean anything to me. Like, that's just a catch-all phrase people use. We could properly define science if you would like to, but
as Box likes to say, science is a verb, not a noun.
These new neo terminology, it doesn't mean anything. Yes, it is immoral. So, like, if you can come up with some type of quote unquote scientific evidence that like raping children's okay, is that okay? Or is it just illegal because it's wrong and it's the abuse of children?
Hold on here, buddy. You are just literally appealing.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
To multiple scientific stats in your opening statement. She brought up suicide stats. She brought up the sexology theory of the typology with AGP. You were talking regret rates. These are all scientific concepts. You understand? Yes.
I understand that you're utilizing the word science that way, and that's okay. It's not actually what science is.
Oh.
The food pyramid. The food pyramid was the science. Never forget.
But if you want to use it loosely, I'm fine with that. I don't care about a semantical argument.
We're talking about your arguments, my friend. These are arguments you made.
Correct. Yeah. And you're not addressing any of those. So you said that they're all.
Let's go through it.
Let's go through it.
Okay.
This is will be beneficial for everyone. You're saying that the
shout out to GNX. Welcome to the party. It said science is a noun. It means knowledge. No, it doesn't. It is a process by which we observe and understand the universe. People use it as a noun, which is very bad, because the purpose of science is to not be one tenet or one thing. It is a process, and through science we learn facts or theories about the universe. And I think that's okay. We don't have to be anti-science just because some people subscribe to scientism, where, well, the scientist said it, so it must be true. And again, the food pyramid was the science used as a noun. So, I mean, I don't really know. Yeah, I know. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. It said, make sure to get your 11 servings of carbs every day. Most important. And sugar content, Who cares? Who cares? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, brother. And again, if you guys have not hit the like button, I would very, very, very much appreciate that.
Let's go through. Let's go through.
Okay.
This is will be beneficial for everyone. You're saying that the vast majority of children shouldn't be allowed to transition.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
In fact, let me dig into that, because the way I want to do this, hand to God, look at me, everyone in the audience. If you follow the Brianna Wu
Look at it. Just look at it.
playbook on this, the number of children transitioning would be reduced by anywhere from 85 to 95%. And the kids that would be transitioning, if I introduced you to these children, it would break your heart. These are
Appeal to emotion. And exactly what Gontek is saying is, well, I live my life and I did things, and even if she is not being dishonest, there's still a bias, an unconscious bias, that if she thought she did all these things and now messed up, or if she didn't realize that perhaps she could have dealt with her issues without transitioning, and it just so happens that she did transition and also dealt with some of her issues, that's not a causal relationship. You know, if you want to take it away from this entirely, we can talk about corporal punishment for children. That you hear everybody say, like, well, my parents beat me and I turned out fine. Like, okay, great, but that doesn't mean that hitting children is the best way to go. It maybe didn't mess you up irrevocably, but that doesn't mean that that is the ideal thing to do. And same thing follows here.
transitioning. If I introduced you to these children, it would break your heart. These are literally natal boys that they're 3 years old, and they are telling you, I'm a girl. They are hard.
Why is that? Why is that? How would they know the concept that they could be not what they are? How could that be? GNX, you are very welcome. I love to have new people and as many different opinions as we can. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, if you are new here, definitely hit that subscribe. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it.
They're 3 years old, and they are telling you, I'm a girl. They are horrified by their body. They're shutting down. They grow up to have more emotional damage than I think you can understand if you've not actually had this child.
Again, the question is, why is that? Why is that?
Most
a 3-year-old?
it can
Yo! Funk, you are on it. I apologize. I did not mean to assume Science's pronouns.
actually have this child.
A 3-year-old?
It can literally be that old. Yes.
I have a 2-year-old.
Come on, man.
Sure.
And she changes her mind every 5 minutes. She's a spaceship one
Of
minute.
course.
Of course. Yeah, she changes her mind every minute. So let's mutilate her.
Hold on. You don't like take one moment and extrapolate it. This is what it looks like. Really look at me and
But people do that. That's the issue. Just because you have the perfect version of transgenderism doesn't mean that's what happens in society. This is also my issue with people who are what I would call good Christians. Just because you interpret your faith in a way that allows you to be a moral, good person and all that stuff doesn't mean that A, it's true, or B, that other people are going to have the same interpretation. One of us said I wanted to be a velociraptor when I was 7. Why didn't they attach raptor claws and a tail onto me? Well, you've been oppressed. But the good thing is now you can go get that. Anything you want, as long as Brianna Wu is in charge. Funkmaster said, "Does this dude on the left take his tits out at any point? Do you want to see that? Do you want to see that? I'm gonna guess the answer is no, but I'm also happy about that.
you don't like take one moment and extrapolate it. This is what it looks like. Really look at me and hear me here. So the way it looks,
This is the second time she's done that. Look at me. Look at me. Maybe you're ugly.
does you have a child? They start saying something from a really young age. They come to you, they're like, Mommy, I'm supposed to be a girl. What's going on?
Again, you're glossing over why that is a phenomenon. Was that always a phenomenon? Was that a naturally emerging phenomenon? Or is that only matched with the times that we've been talking about this so much in society?
And
That doesn't happen.
You wish that away.
That's
It
never
doesn't.
happened.
It literally happens.
That's literally never occurred on the earth.
Okay. Well, you're full of shit.
A 3-year-old's gone up to their mom and said, I'm supposed to be a girl. That's your argument? That doesn't happen
Hold on,
unless
hold
that
on.
unless that parent has suggested that idea to them.
Exactly. Unless, well, maybe not the parent specifically, but unless it has been suggested to them. That is not something a child has the development to be able to understand what that means.
That's your argument. That doesn't happen
Hold on,
unless
hold
that
on.
unless that parent has suggested that idea to them. They would never even
Hold on,
conceive of I'm supposed to be something other than I am. They're still trying to figure out what even humans are.
That's
They're-
not
Yup.
true. That's not true.
That absolutely no. 3-year-olds know everything about human anatomy and the meaning of life and all of that stuff. I mean, I'm 35 and I don't fully get it. I mean, I don't think any of you fully get it either. But 3-year-olds, they're on top of it.
It's
It's
true.
not. And hold on. Something's really important to me as we're going here. I'd like to have good faith. I'm going to take your argument seriously. I'm going to hear it. I'm going to respond to it. It's not always 3, but it's going to happen. The older you get, the more strong these declarations are going to get.
Why? And would that happen if it wasn't suggested to them?
The child is going to learn maladaptive behaviors. They're going to start having a lot of trouble integrating. They're going to be mocked. They're going to have trouble making friends.
So let's address that instead of changing their gender as if that is going to help them make friends better. Like what? I mean, I guess technically it will because now you're automatically in the cool kids club by being non-binary and queer. But that's not it's not that's a band-aid solution to a broken leg. Gen X in the 80s, you were either gay or straight. Yeah. And I mean, I don't even necessarily think that being asexual doesn't exist, bisexual, that kind of, sure. I do think there is some fluidity in human sexuality, but there's clearly a norm where it's men and women, and then there is deviations from that, but only in a certain level. Like you're not going to see anything outside of what has been considered normal before the last 10 years. Again, talking about being gay. It may not have been widely accepted, but we understood, okay, some people are gay. Some, whether we decide, or whether you decide that it's because they chose that or they were born that way, like, okay, that's a thing, and it's maybe not for me, maybe not for you, but it's to each their own, and you're not hurting anybody. But you got to keep our attention somehow. And then yeah, to say I think there's probably people who don't necessarily have interest in that. But outside of that, it's just a costume. It's just a costume. Well, I'm second. I figured it out. I said cis. I said cis only in comparison of a trans person. Any other time, I'm using normal. Don't call me out, bigots. Cope harder. Cope harder. They got you. Just take the L, bro. It's all right.
Trouble integrating. They're going to be mocked. They're going to have trouble making friends. And yet I had a really close sibling that saw this with me growing up. They told me it was like seeing the light in my eyes die day by day by day.
Yeah, you just mentioned a whole bunch of mental health issues that you had.
To the point where, when I was 10, I couldn't leave the house. It was very difficult for me to go to school.
So being a woman is connected to that by
my grades were terrible. I'm a reasonably smart person. Stupid. So I did need help. You may not want
I agree. I just disagree on what that help was.
to believe that.
This
but
is an appeal to emotion.
This is what a parent is trying to decide. with
You're
their
appealing
child.
to the emotion
I'm
of
telling you clinically what this looks like.
I'm letting you know that logically speaking, your entire argument is invalid. It's called an appeal to emotion.
No.
Now, if you want to address the actual situation, I brought up that even you are saying that up to 90% of children
Yes.
shouldn't transition. Okay. You're now presenting that as a sales pitch, as in it's beneficial to limit the number of children that transition. That is your fundamental argument. So thank you. I agree with you. So
And this is similar to the safe, legal, and rare argument about abortion. Well, if it's safe and it's legal, then why does it need to be rare?
then what are the detriments of those children transitioning that you would then present an argument to limit it?
Well, hold on. Let's talk through what we mean by transition, because there's social transition and there's medical transition. And what I'm telling you is there's no rush for female to male transsexuals in going quickly. A mastectomy will work just as well for them at 18 or 19 as it will for 14. There's no reason to rush this because their detransition rates, are so high. But
You're not
what I'm
addressing my
telling
question.
you is if you do this the other way, there is permanent damage that ends up happening, and you're setting that person up for a much more difficult life.
There's permanent damage that happens when you allow the children to transition too quickly as a child.
I agree.
Is that what you were saying?
I'm
That's
saying
my
there
point.
can be, yes.
Yeah, right. So then we
So let's not do that then. Debate over.
agree that this is a delicate situation, and it's
Yes.
extremely dangerous for children to transition, because when they get older, if they change their mind, like children do, then they could be suicidal, right? Because now they're stuck. If a child's going through puberty and then you just bombard them with chemicals, then it's like, what are we going to do now?
Join the free Discord to see what Unwanted Foe just dropped.
Now they can never go back. They can never
Sure.
mature the same. And then what you did was still deflect away from the point, which was, if you don't mind, list off the negative side effects of allowing those kids to transition that's required for you to support your own argument. You're saying, if we went my route, it would be 90% less. So you're saying that's a good thing. You're saying it's a good thing to
It doesn't
cut
have to
down.
be all or nothing.
Right. So by the fact of saying, okay, 90% of them are bad and only 10% of them are good, then now and this is whether it's scientific or psychosocial or whatever, that is not an appeal to emotion. So if you, Brianna, think that 90% of these transitions should not happen, then what is the difference between the 90% and the 10%? And what about the bad things in the 90% that are going to go away if we only go with the 10%? She's trying to play both sides of this. And it's just cope, because she has to believe that chopping up her body and getting fake boobs was the end all be all, and that's why she's happy. Because if she thinks anything else, and it's just like, oh shit, I fucked up. A shout out to Unwanted Foe. And how dare this dude make a logical argument? I mean, we'll see. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you so very much. That is 2 out of 10, 8 more of just $2 or more, 8 more, and we are on the floor. Thank you so much. And of course, that adds you as our new co-sponsor of the stream. Thank you. G9 said, what is the self-deletion rate amongst those that transition? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm almost 90% sure that it is more than the rate of people who want to transition who don't. I think they get into that. If not, we'll check up some numbers. But that's exactly what we need to see. If it is the case that these, we'll talk about the kids. If these children are literally going to end themselves if they don't transition, what number of how many of those are there? That must be a lower number than the number of people who do this, and I'm pretty sure it's not. Again, I think they talk about it, but yeah, right. We're not supposed to talk about that. Shout out to Dietrich. Welcome to the party. Very, very good to see you, sir. It is weird how over the last few thousand years that this spectacle has been hiding in the shadow realm until the creation of the LGBTQIAEPP Wi-Fi community. How often before the 2000s did kids know to question their gender? They didn't. And that's exactly Witsit's point here, is that, if it is the case that this child is now sacked with this burden that, oh my God, I'm in the wrong body. Like, okay, that is a thing, but only because you did that. So you're trying to find a solution to a problem that you that you created. Shout out to Mighty Sarlacc in the building. Welcome. Said, is it wrong to say transgender is not normal? No, it is not wrong. It is factually and empirically the case. Well, goes on to say, I figured it's just a fact that the vast majority of people are not trans. Therefore, it is that's the normative understanding of gender equating to sex. Absolutely right. Welcome. Very good to see you guys. Again, if you can hit that like button, I love you forever.
Would be 90% less. So you're saying that's a good thing. You're saying it's a good thing to cut
It doesn't have to
down.
be all or nothing. Healthcare is not all or nothing.
You're saying it's a good thing to cut down on the total number of
Yes.
children transitioning.
Yes.
Okay, why is that a good thing?
Right, there we go.
Because the reason it is a good thing is these are permanent decisions. And what the studies are showing right now is the bulk of people that are transitioning and regretting it, they are natal females that regret transitioning to male. Think about all the celebrities out there talking about this, like people like Chloe Cole. They
Isn't that our point?
all come from one cohort. This is what I need for you to hear. Here are the stats. I can show you science to back this up. If you're a natal male and you're someone like I was at 4 years old, you had gender dysphoria, you're very confused about this. There's a 90% chance that you are going to grow out of this and you're just going to be gay. I had a 90% chance of that. There's a 10% chance that you're going to grow up and then transition and be a transsexual. The way that we tell this is if the child at the onset of puberty still has that gender dysphoria, then it is overwhelmingly likely they are going to have that for the rest of their life.
How do you know? We don't have these studies. You're just saying that. Wonderful said, so only female to male regretting it? No, male to females? No, her argument is specifically because we're talking about children that when we talk about female to male, then if I understand her argument correctly, I don't mean to strawman her. I think what she's saying is that the differences in the switch, like you can get them if you're a female, then you can get your junk chopped off, but the hormonal differences, again, according to her, are much more severe in terms of like puberty and if you want to reverse it and all that stuff, than if you are going male to female. I think that's what she's saying. But again, you can see how she's trying to tease out. It's like, here's this big block of bad shit, but there's a little speck of gold in there, and she's trying to do whatever she can, get her hands dirty, just to find that flake of gold, and nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, it is overwhelmingly likely they are going to have that for the rest of their life. This is a medical condition that is overwhelmingly not going to go away.
Join the Discord if you want to know what they're talking about.
And does not make sense to me to leave that child in a position where they cannot get treatment and they cannot have help when it's going to make their life so much worse. So hold off the medicalization.
Well, what if it doesn't? What if they change their mind?
Let me
Well,
finish.
you're just kind of monologuing on sequiturs.
My point is, let the child, you're talking about this like we are medicalizing 4-year-olds. We're not. I'm saying wait, take a cautious approach, get a long case history there. Only do this to the most extreme cases.
Okay.
Do what? Medicalize it. Call it gender dysphoria. Start doing transition. So that's what you are doing. He's just observing and stating that that's what you're doing. I was excited. Brianna's whole argument is basically testosterone is a hell of a drug. Yep. Montevo said, hold up. Who is medicalizing 4-year-olds? She's the one trying to say, well, because we want to extend this period and we want to start the social transition at 4 years old, we're not going to do anything like in terms of surgery with them until they're older. But they can understand that they have gender dysphoria at that age, according to her. And then when Witsit is trying to talk about, the effects of that, what that actually means, she's like, well, nobody's medicalizing 4-year-olds. Like, bitch, yes, you are.
Get a long case history there. Only do this to the most extreme cases.
Okay. So I am asking you what the negative side effects are. And you said, only thing you said that even would be an answer is that it's a permanent decision. Okay.
Sure. Let's get there. For which cohort do you want the?
It doesn't matter because for
it
any
does
of,
matter.
for
you,
any
as
of
you
the,
said, I didn't answer your question. Tell me which.
You didn't. He asked for the negative effects, and you didn't mention any negative effects. My scholar said a child changes their mind all the time. They can't consent can't consent to have sex, and they can't consent to having a sex change or allowed to have specific hormones given to them. I mean, that's the way it should be. And even progressive Europe, most of the European countries are not doing this anymore. But that's America, Jack.
You want the?
it doesn't matter because for
It
any
does
of,
matter.
for
You,
any
as
of
you
the,
said, I didn't
for-
answer your question. Tell me which
That's right.
cohort
You
you want the answer
you didn't.
to.
You didn't. I asked you to list the negative side effects of allowing children to transition because in your own argument you are presenting that as to be the case.
Okay.
OCD.
I'm not going to stay on defensive this whole time. You're going to answer some of my questions, but let me answer it really quickly. So as I said in my opening statement, for the non-binary cohort, there's no science to back this up that makes their lives better.
Yeah, because there hasn't been enough time. That's like saying, well, there's no studies on the long-term effects of if I throw this at my dog. Yeah, because it hasn't happened yet. we would have to see that it happens. Or, I mean, we realistically should be talking again more about the social, psychosocial effects, and not need to see it, and not trying to argue that it would work because of very obvious reasons. But even if we're down this road, then you have to have time. So what is your argument going to be in 10 years when we do have that information? It goes against everything that you're saying. Oh, well, I guess that's the science.
For the non-binary cohort, there's no science to back this up that makes their lives better. That's why you don't want to let them transition. For the female to males, the statistical probability is that they are going to not like it, and they're going to detransition and have bad feelings about that.
So I think that might be, Montevo, another aspect of what she's saying here, that there is more regret on the female to male side than the male to female side. And I think I think that has a lot to do with, just the aspects of being a man or a woman in society. No, Miney, she did not answer yet. Not yet. Let's see if she can get to it.
It's obviously suboptimal to have a breast reconstruction when you had a mastectomy when you're 12 years old. That's a contraindication. Also, testosterone is so powerful, it's going to fuck those girls up in their ability to pass.
Wait, are
forward.
you pro letting a little
I'm gonna answer your
boy
question,
have
and then we
medical
can
surgery?
Go off into that. So the
Well,
third
because
thing
it's
is
not-
for the male to female cohort. The downsides to this is if you have one of these boys that had gender confusion at a very young age, there's actually a high likelihood they're going to grow up to be gay. So if you medicalize that too quickly, you could be doing damage to someone that's gay.
So see, she's using that word medicalizing in an obfuscated way. Semantic obfuscation. If you are saying that somebody has a mental disorder, that is medicalizing them. Just because you don't like that aspect, and you're saying, well, when I say medicalizing, I mean surgery, or I mean giving hormones, or whatever it is, then that's just not what it means. One of us said, wow, she's so confused on controlling discussion, she's so focused, rather, on controlling the discussion rather than having a discussion. Like I always say, guys, stop trying to win an argument and just have the conversation. If your ideas are better, your ideas will clearly show to be better.
But again, the good news is we have fairly high certainty, because if that position is still onset at puberty, it's still present.
What are with
So
all these
those are the
vague terms? What does
downsides.
fairly high certainty mean? What does that mean?
I'm not
Exactly.
going to sit here and answer.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and answer questions about things that I just said because I made it up. Did you, if you obsess about dinosaurs around your child, talk about how much better it is to be a dinosaur, raise them, embrace to bow in the dino community, odds are they're going to want to be a fucking dinosaur. Not rocket science. Not rocket science.
What does fairly high certainty mean?
Nothing.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to sit here and answer.
Okay,
defensive
so
questions all
fairly
day.
high certainty is not 100%, right?
It's a 90% chance. Roughly.
90% chance that
Okay, where did you get the 90?
if a little boy temporarily thinks he could be a girl, that he's going to stay like
It
that forever. Is that your
doesn't
claim?
stay that way forever, dude. It doesn't.
Okay, so if a little boy says, I think I want to be a girl, you're saying that falls in the category if there's like 6 criteria. So let's say they check all the boxes. You keep saying the reason you should allow that child to transition, which is objectively child abuse. You're saying that you should abuse that child because there's a strong likelihood that when they got older, they wouldn't change their mind. So what is a strong likelihood? Like what's the percentage chance that child
I'm
will
going
change
to
his mind?
repeat.
So here, what I would do if I'm a Witsit is clearly she doesn't know. So I would just give it to her to speculate. Like, okay, so what percentage would you, if you had to take a wild guess, what percentage of these people regret it? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? What are we talking about here?
Their mind. So what is a strong likelihood? Like what's the percentage chance that child
I'm
will
going
change
to
his mind?
repeat this to you. And why don't you? I know you have something going on. Look at me so you can hear this here.
4th time she's asked him to look at her.
There's about a 90% chance that child is going to grow out of it. If the gender dysphoria is still there at puberty, there's a near certainty to the fact I cannot point to any study showing people the detransition. There's basically no evidence anyone can point to that the gender dysphoria ever goes away if it's still present at puberty.
That neither does anxiety. But the answer to anxiety is not cutting out the part of your brain that makes you anxious. I know it doesn't work like that, but you get my point. Like, come on. Yeah, from 90% to about 90% or near 90%, or technically, if you include this group and that group, it's you can see that this is just preaching from the pulpit. This is her religion, and this is what she believes, and that's all we're doing here. She's expressing what she believes. She is not making an argument. She is not diving into the questions that he's asking. She's not presenting her own case, except for this one fact about how, well, yeah, I agree with you 90%, but there's 10% here that, and even if that is the case, you have to make the argument. That's the biggest thing I learned this weekend, actually, from doing my own debates and watching all of these debates, that people like I feel like I'm pretty good at both sides of things in terms of understanding where you're coming from, understanding where you're coming from, regardless of my own beliefs. But other people seem to not be very good at that. And when I say other people, I'm talking about the debaters, not just the people who were attending, because there was a lot of impromptu debates that people were going for debate conventions. So obviously, people were going to want to talk about stuff. But the inability to speak as if the other person doesn't already agree with you is bad. And that's why, so Saturday was the religion debates, and then yesterday was the political debates. And all of the atheists were so bad because they were just making, the same arguments from the 90s. And it was like, making fun of Sky Daddy and that kind of stuff. That's not an argument anymore. Andrew Wilson actually got to the point of, of saying, like, even if God in the Bible is not true, it would still be better for society. And, the debaters didn't have anything against that. Shout out to Kelly Green. You commented here. Haram. Welcome to the party, brother. Bowmaster said, any fist fights? No, there's pretty heavy security. Well, no, this was yesterday. Because there was, Alex O'Connor was supposed to be there on Saturday, but he got some death threats and didn't come through. So it was like 6 armed security guards on Saturday. But Sunday was actually a lot slower. And then I was in I missed the entire first half of the day with the podcast. I'm not fully sure. Dietrich said, if my baby girl came to me and said, Daddy, I should be a boy, I would ask her who talked to her about that, and if she named someone, I would make Darth Vader I would make Darth Vader's force choke look like child's play. And that's really the point, is that they want to pretend like, because they've introduced this, that it's natural. But no, you introduced it. That makes it not natural and not organic. Where we at? Movie. What? Oh, okay. I'm gonna assume you guys are on some other one. King Nirvana said, was Rachel Wilson nice? She seems friendly. Yeah, they're both friendly. They're both like, normal people. It's just that when they are in debate mode, they know how to play the game. And so it's a very similar thing to like maybe asking about a UFC fighter. Now, I'm not saying all debaters, but I'm saying it's very common that even though these people physically fight for a living, that's their job. That's what they do. And so, yeah, they were both very, very friendly. And I talked to them a decent amount. So I'd be very surprised if I wasn't on their on the Crucible channel soon. Maybe not immediately, but soon.
Evidence anyone can point to that the gender dysphoria ever goes away if it's still present in puberty. Do you process that?
Yeah, that's a cool claim.
What movie is this?
So there's
Show me a study to prove
literally
this.
anyone in here can just pull their phone up and Google detransitioners, including people after puberty from boys to girls.
Please do.
Okay,
And
it's
you're gonna find
effortless.
what I'm
I've seen them.
talking about is true.
I've seen them cry and be suicidal. So here's the question.
Put a one in the chat if you have never seen any detransitioner online talking about that. Yeah, put a one in the chat if you've never heard a detransition story online or in person.
I've seen them cry and be suicidal. So here's the question. What is the acceptable amount? If one child then regrets it and then commits suicide,
okay,
is that
this
okay?
is what we're not going to do. I'm not going to spend this entire time on the defensive. You need to answer. This is good.
You're
faith.
making the
This is
affirmative
good
claim.
faith.
Yeah, that's literally what you're here for. You're literally here to defend the claim. Perfect. Like, what do you mean? Then what are we doing here? Context. So I bet AJW is a big enough channel now to look down his flat chin at us normies. He is actually really cool. Because Thomas Sheedy, the Atheist for Liberty guy, is close friends with Sean, and he was at his wedding and all that stuff. So that was a really cool thing to be able to get in talking to him. I got a lot of FaceTime with him, and during his debate, he used my pen. There's a pen on the moderator's table. It's like, oh, would you mind grab me that? I'm like, wait. I want to be able to say that you're using my pen. And so I gave him my pen. I definitely think this was a big weekend for stuff that is coming. I just said one because I don't care. All right, fair enough. Then follow up, Mighty. Do you believe that there are no stories like that out there, as Brianna is claiming? Funkmaster said, Dietrich, you're a giant. You could walk around palming their head like a basketball. Tina Von said, if it's only on his channel, he might only keep it behind his paywall. Hope not. So no, it's going to be on. So you see the Modern Day Debate channel as well as the Uncensored America channel. I think it's going to be on the Crucible as well, but it's going to be that's where we're going to find it. So we are good.
Can spend this entire time on the defensive. You need to answer. This is good.
You're
faith.
making the
This is
affirmative
good
claim.
faith. We need to go back and forth.
You're
So
advocating that we
question for
abuse
you.
children.
Here's my question for you.
Hey, again. Shout out to Unwanted Bo with another $2 make you holler, said Feed Beastie. Beastie has been fed. Thank you so much. And of course, that makes you the new sole sponsor of the stream. Guys, that's 3 out of 10. 7 more, and I'm on the floor. Thank you so very, very much, sir.
We need to go back and forth.
You're
So
advocating that we abuse
you.
children.
Here's my question for you. At what point do the parents who understand their child best, why can't a parent have the right to go to a psychiatrist? They understand their child the best, talk to them, find a course of treatment. Why do you get to override what a parent gets to choose to do with their own child's health care?
Why can't a child just pluck out why can't a parent just pluck out their own child's eye? Like, who are you to say that a parent can't pluck out the eyes of their own children? I mean, seriously, what are we doing here? Shout out to Box. Welcome to the party. Said, I can make an argument for transing a kid. All right, go for it. I'm always open to hear more. Welcome to the party. Said, hi, guys. I'm the de novo. All right, fair enough. We are always looking to see different perspectives. Dietrich said, imagine if I said my car needs a new paint job because it doesn't feel like it's current paint color, and if you don't pay for it, it's going to drive itself into the river. You going to pay? No, I'm not. But that is a really good way to look at exactly what they're doing. Insane.
You get to override what a parent gets to choose to do with their own child's health care.
Obviously.
Why is that something you have the moral right to do?
No, children aren't dogs.
So, Box, make it. If you can't fit it in here and put it in the Discord, I'll read it out.
Dogs, or not even dogs. Like, they're not inanimate objects that you just play with so you can run around and virtue signal about how you have a transgender child.
Well, I mean, some parents definitely do, but you're not supposed to.
It's a child that's learning how to
That's why I said put it in the Discord.
even process the world. Okay. And there's so many different layers to this. If a child goes to school and he has a crush on a girl and he goes and asks her out and then she laughs at him, he's going to be like,
Oh, wow. So we're up. We were at 14%. We went down. We went down to 10%. And now we're back up to 26% of people agreeing with Brianna.
if a child goes to school and he has a crush on a girl and he goes and asks her out and then she laughs at him, he's going to be like, damn, that sucks. He's going to feel all bad, get all sad about it, right? If he comes home and his parents are letting him know, well, maybe, you don't really have to be a boy and all this stuff. That little boy may think, oh, well, I'll never have to face that rejection again. I can just be a girl. And
that's why we see so many young trans kids.
People we're talking about children. I don't know if you guys have children, okay, but they change their mind a lot. They're very emotional. They're actually trying to learn how to process their emotions. Things like rejection and not being accepted is a big deal to them. If you have someone putting in their ears all this sexualized terminology and this gender confusion, then they're going to just look for a way out of whatever uncomfortable position they're in. So that is child abuse to even sexualize the children at all. What age should the children be allowed to have a conversation about changing their gender? You're talking about ages like
You're
3
not
years
answering
old.
that question and going into some bullshit. So I'm going to ask again. What gives you the moral right? A parent knows their
I mean, at this point, the law.
child best. What gives you the right to go override a parent's right to make a medical decision about their own child with the doctor?
Exactly the same thing that Awantufo was saying. Just because a doctor, this goes back to scientism, just because somebody has letters after the name and they went to school doesn't mean that everything they say is correct or moral. I mean, talking about Dr. Kevorkian or any, there's plenty. The evil scientist is a meme. It's a caricature because it's a very easy thing to understand that you have this power, you have this ability to affect people, the world, whatever it is, and that power goes to people's heads.
A parent's right to make a medical decision about their own child with the doctor. Why do you get to override that?
This isn't just a medical decision. It's like you can't just a parent can choose to do anything to their child and we'll just call it medical. If the child says, I don't think I should have 2 arms.
There's
So
a
then
medical protocol for this.
Okay,
There's
so
a diagnosis.
That doesn't make it right. This is appeal to the appeal to scientism. The scientists said it's okay, therefore. That's not an argument.
I think I should have 2 arms. So
There's a
then
medical protocol for this.
okay,
There's
so
a
the
diagnostic
child says, I don't
protocol.
think I should have 2
There
arms.
So if we had a medical protocol for taking off children's arms, then it would be okay.
are
And then that-
statistics.
Wait,
That's not the
well,
same.
You don't want to see the conclusion of this drawn out, obviously. The
It's
child
a
says,
shitty analogy. It's bullshit.
It's a perfect analogy.
that's what you say, but the child says, I don't want to have 2 arms, mommy. And mommy says, you know what? This is my right as his parent. We're
There's
going to
no
take him
doctor
we're going to
that's
take
going
him to
to
get
say that.
amputated.
No, exactly. Right now, no doctor will do that because it has not been normalized by people like yourself. No doctor would do it 20 years ago. No doctor would do it. Now, things change. And again, they always try to make this argument about like, oh, well, that doesn't happen or that's not a big deal. But you're pushing for more of this. If this was as bad as it was ever going to get, it would still be bad, but it would not be as bad as the fact that this is picking up exponentially. Again, how are you going to make any of these arguments in 10 years? Once Bo said, kid wants to be a T-Rex, they should give him surgery to shorten their arms. That's basically what it is. Shout out to Buckmaster General. So I think he's mixing up protocol with profit. Yup. There's a medical profit for this. There really is.
Amputated. Who are you to say that they can't cut off that child's arm?
There's not a doctor out there that's going to facilitate that.
I go to Africa,
There
find someone.
are doctors out there that specialize in this, that see these kinds of children all day long. And again,
So that's really the argument. People don't do that, so people don't do that. But people do this, so people do this.
I'm telling you, they're being over medicalized. But there are, in good faith, doctors that will look at this. I think you're
So there's doctors who will look at this in good faith, and there's doctors who not, or doctors will look at this in good faith. That's a very weirdly phrased sentence for the point that you're trying to make. There are doctors who will do this. That implies that there are doctors who will not do this. And by this, meaning look at this and go along with the bullshit.
But there are, in good faith, doctors that will look at this. I think you're being so cavalier because you do not understand how difficult it is for these parents.
Projection. Well, it's hard for parents, so we should not care about the kids anymore.
What?
You're not thinking about how hard it is for the parent, for another person to be mutilated. I'm speechless. I am speechless.
They don't want to have this problem.
My experience is that most of them like the virtue signal about it, and they hold up their
Yup.
children like a little token trophy
Yup.
of how amazingly progressive they are.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but I know there's multiple women who have like 4 or 5 kids, and they're all in the alphabet community. That's statistically impossible.
And then they cause a lifelong damage to that child. And this is the part that didn't get addressed in my opener either. So
What's the bad parts?
there's something I'm sure you're aware of, right? Autogonophilia. Is that how you
Oh,
say
we're
it?
going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Sure.
So that is one of the typically not addressed. Some people are more bold, and so I think you've actually openly proclaimed that applies to you. And so on your Twitter, so this is where a man gets
we gotta
sexually
find that.
aroused at the idea of being a woman or other people perceiving them to be a woman. So it's a sexual fetish. So is it child abuse to introduce a sexual fetish to a child?
So first of all, if we're gonna have a good faith conversation,
Straightforward question. Is this a yes?
we're
or no
gonna have a
question?
good faith conversation. You're not gonna say that kind of bullshit. That's over the line. I never said that on my Twitter. That's a
You never
fucking
said.
lie.
Never said what? You mean to pull up?
Dyke said I had an autogun failure. That's absolutely bullshit.
You mean to read it?
So
Well, what I mean, I'm again. If anybody has the specific tweet, I would love to see it. But I just searched Brianna Wu AGP, and I just found out this is a game. This is the game Brianna Wu is known for, and people still are surprised that she's AGP. And we got sexy girls on the thing. The Spider-Man meme, Brianna Wu out here with the AGP accusations. What is this? Brianna / John Woo and actually red face talking about. Oh, what do we got here? What do we got here?
Looking at something from the source. I mean, it's just such an honor. Yeah. So I think I'm saying what everyone's thinking, basically. I think most men, when they're looking at someone like Sydney Sweeney, they're thinking basically the things that I'm saying. Well, not even really saying, but sort of communicating. And I don't think the breast is like, not that I'm against breasts, but I'm not, not.
Yeah, sure.
I don't favor it over other body parts more than anyone else. I believe we should-
Gay.
I believe we should
so
respect-
which is your favorite then? We're trying to get you on the record.
I probably like the S better. I'll be honest, but there's not an audience for it.
Oh, we're all white. That's so cruel, Richard.
No,
I
it's
can't
the human capital audience. And like, they sort of cringe a little bit at the boob stuff. If I did ask,
All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. What do we got here? What do we got here? Here's the truth from Brianna Wu's can't have that. From Brianna Wu's blue checked account. Here's the truth. The start of my breaking from fringe progressive politics was running for Congress. Learning how politics actually works instead of smelling other progressive farts online was a serious reality bitch slap. A lot of what I believed was wrong, albeit with good intentions, and half the people screaming about nothing here. All right, so yeah, definitely. If I'm gonna do one more search where I actually type it out. Autogynophilia. What's she saying? Most well-adjusted people understand that there are rare feminine boys that are happier growing up to be women, and most people are kind enough to want to make the space in society. Blah 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 blah. Okay, what do we got here? What do we got here? How dare you? How are you? Detransitioning if you're still doing drag? Blah 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 blah. I don't know why this is coming up when I'm searching it, but if anybody can find where she said this, then that would be ideal. And then not finding it. Hello. Many trans women go into sex work because a lot of us have autogynophilia and being objectified is erotic to us, says Brianna Wu. Says Brianna Wu. Right there. Right there. 3 days into the year. Not even done with the New Year's hangover. And got to talk about how you're AGP. But no, she didn't say that at all. Didn't say that at all. Shout out to equality and deference because vagina. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. As is Brianna religious? Because that would be funny. The answer is yes. Trans is her religion. And can't grow up to be a woman if you have the old dick and balls. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were talking about how she went. She don't have a dick anymore. I don't know. I don't know. But very true. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Bonk said, okay, I can write an argument for transing the kids, but the more I type, the less I like myself. I will keep it to myself. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. You tried and failed, but that is what that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that our ideas that we hold are actually the ones that we believe. Shout out to Rhett in action. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. How does one detransition? Just undo the transing stuff. So if you're a man and you got boobs, you cut them off. If you're a woman who's binding her tits or wait, did I just say that? But yeah, I mean, if you're a dude wearing his wearing dresses and then you stop doing that, you don't wear makeup and all that kind of detransitioning. In terms of surgically, then that's a little bit more difficult because you have to especially with men, because you cut off your dick and to make it into a transgina, and then there's not a lot of skin tissue left to remake it into a penis. Ugh. I don't even like talking about this like that. Yep, Colony said transtardation is a religion indeed. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. Said indulging someone in their delusion does not help them. Not at all. Not at all. And again, when we're talking about children, it's abuse. It is abuse. So Rhett asked about detransition. Box said, also, don't let these women tell you vasectomies are reversible. It's not how surgery is supposed to work. I mean, it's way more reversible than transing yourself. It's not necessarily something you could do, but I think the percentages are higher in reversing a vasectomy than detransitioning. But, you know. Buckmaster said, yikes, straight as wiener for a stab wound. Yeah, they turn your innie back to an outie. Box, from what I understand, the transgina never really heals, right? That was the big thing with Jazz Jennings, that if you have this wound, they just cut you open and it's a wound. And so you have to constantly dilate, where you take a dildo-esque thing and you get it all up and around in there so that it doesn't heal because it is an open wound. How dudes want to fuck that is absolutely insane to me, but different discussion. Yeah, absolutely right. And so with Jazz Jennings, Jazz was saying that, I don't really want to do this. And Jazz's mom was like, no, you have to do this. If you don't do this, then I'm going to do it myself. I'll hold you down and shove that thing in. Like, hey, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Guys, a great sound effects for the dildoing. It's not that good because it's not that juicy. Oh, I don't know why. Why did I just say that? Anyway, diving back in here.
Never said what? You mean to pull it?
I said I had an autogun feeling. That's absolutely bullshit.
You mean to read it?
So let's go through this one by one.
All right, we'll read it.
Actually, don't surf your whole fucking thing while we're
Oh, you don't want me to search it?
You said it, or you want me to read it?
I did not. Forget it. So
forget it. In case you missed it, one more time, Brianna Wu. Many trans women, many trans women go into sex work because a lot of us, she says, not them, us, have autogynephilia, and being objectified is erotic, again, for us, says Brianna Wu. Come on. I mean, it's right there. It is right there. And I mean, for all the times that we've searched something on Twitter and it didn't come up, I mean,
Oh, you want to take back that you said it, or you want me to read it?
I did not. Forget it. So
Yeah,
let's talk through this.
You said it.
Let's talk about this.
Answer my question.
What is your question?
Is it child abuse to introduce a sexual fetish to a child?
The question makes no sense because it's not about a sexual fetish for the child. In fact,
so you agree it would be child abuse?
If you look at what we actually know about this phenomenon, you don't understand enough to have a conversation about this. There's a thing.
These are just all fallacies.
Then explain. So when people do that, okay, fine. Then explain to me like I'm 5. Explain to me like I'm stupid, because I think that I'm at least half as intelligent as most people in this room. So if I don't get it, then they don't get it either. So please explain.
Phenomenon. You don't understand enough to have a conversation about this. There's a thing.
These are just all fallacies.
Identity defense model.
You don't understand.
Where AGP is a consequence of not affirming the child is not a root cause of this, and a child is never going to. They're not seeing their gender. They haven't even hit puberty yet to have anything like this. Who do you think discovered the typology?
All right, many trans women go into sex work because a lot of us have autogynephilia, and being objectified is erotic for us.
That was her tweet, in case you missed it. Not Jim Caviezel. Well, says, is this the flat earth guy, Jim Caviezel? He looks so familiar. He's not Jim Caviezel, the guy from The Passion of the Christ, but apparently he is a flat earther. So we'll see if they get into that.
Sex work because a lot of
one more time, just in case.
Who do you think discovered the typology?
All right,
Do
many
you
trans
know this?
women go into sex work because a lot of us have autogynephilia, and being objectified
Many
is erotic
trans
for us.
women go into sex work
For us,
because
a
many
lot
trans
of
women.
us have.
I've
a lot
never
of
done
us,
fucking sex work, dude.
No, I didn't say no.
No, but you clearly have autogynephilia.
I said, but a lot of us have autogynephilia. So you have absolutely, and there's multiple times where you've addressed it, attributing it to you.
This
I
is-
have a very simple question.
The hand wave. Don't talk about relevant things that don't help my argument.
Can
Okay?
you admit that you lied? That's just bullshit.
Projection. You just lied. He showed proof that you lied. And then you accuse him of lying. That is insane. Insane. Someone, honestly, that's really the only way to do it. You got to find your way around and test your ideas and see what they go up against. And sometimes you like them, and sometimes you're like, no, I don't think I really, I don't think I really have that one. Quality said, yeah, Professor Dave soundly thrashed him on a flat earth nonsense. Yep, I'm not surprised about that. One of those said, waves hand. Don't use my words against me.
How dare you?
I'm a woman. You should have more respect than that.
Attributing it to you.
This
I
is-
have a very simple question.
Can
Okay?
you admit that you lied? That's just bullshit.
Lied about what?
Yeah, it's total bad faith here. Are we?
Projection. This is empty. I'm gonna get that in a minute. Funkmaster said, here's how the debate with these people should go. Brianna, trans stuff, blah blah. The other guy, shut the fuck up, you freak. Hey. We're all for free speech here. All right, we're all for free speech. If you don't think you could beat a trans in a trans argument specifically about children, then that's a you problem. That's a you problem. Buck said, so my answer is I don't care who they smash. TMI. Agreed. I don't like that. I want to vote said she's digging herself a hole in China at this rate. Yep. Red said ignorance is bliss until you have to face it. And this person's case, they're not handling well here. Not at all. Not at all. And that's because the entire basis of what they're trying to say is not in accordance with reality. And so you can intellectualize it all the live long day and find ways. Well, technically, this is that, and that, and that, and that, and that. No, the fuck, it's not. Boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Fox said, hey guys, want to talk about who I want to have sex with? Let's talk about our sex life. Best use of my time ever. As she is now being, how dare you make this sexual? What? Quality Deverett said, I don't think women should be, says Equality, allowed to speak. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, they should, keep it down sometimes, but.
Can
Okay?
you admit that you lied? That's just bullshit.
Lied about what?
Yeah, it's total bad faith here. Are we having a real discussion?
Lied about what?
Yes, you're afraid to address this because this is the blunt truth of this. It's sexual.
I'm trying to
it's
address it, and
sexual
you don't understand enough.
deviancy. That's what this is. It's sexual deviancy, and men have this weird sexual fantasy or fetish about being perceived as a woman. That's what it is. And so, why are we introducing sexualized ideas and fetishes to children? That's child abuse. My question to you is it child abuse to introduce a sexual fetish to a child? It's a yes or no question.
It would be if that's what is happening.
Okay,
I
so-
need you
okay,
to
cool.
pause, take a breath, just chill. It's going to be okay.
glad we
I'm going
agree.
to walk you
It's
through
child
this.
abuse.
I'm going to walk the audience through it too. There are two types of transsexuals according to Blanchard typology, which has been, it's a very iffy theory. We actually had one of the main professors of this, John Michael Bailey, on my show a few weeks ago to talk about this in depth. So the first thing you need to know is there's a very small sample size for this, but most honest trans women will tell you it's onto something. So one of
What?
the things,
Wait, hold on. What? Am I the only one who had no idea what the fuck she just said? So,
main professors of this, John Michael Bailey, on my show a few weeks ago to talk about this in depth. So the first thing you need to know is there's a very small sample size for this, but most
right. But the studies say the science this, the science that. And now, well, we didn't really study this that much.
Come on, man.
trans women will tell you it's onto something. So one of the things, there are two types. There's the homosexual transsexual. This tends to be very early onset. So the children you're talking about, by definition, are generally going to be homosexual transsexuals.
So no, this is not the categories that she is using. She's talking about the circumstances around the person wanting to transition. And so there's three types of that according to her. And maybe, but it for the purposes of this discussion, it is completely irrelevant. Context said, being from a family of addicts, I'm literally more physically predisposed to being an addict than they are to being trans. Yep. Should I have been allowed to drink as a kid with that argument under their belief? Honestly, probably yes. Probably yes. Side quest. Well, you know what? That's between me and you. That's between me and you. Dietrich said, just an honest, logical thought. If you entertain the idea of banging a post-trans woman, you'd be better up in the back door than an open wound. Less chance of getting an infection. Just saying.
Haram!
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay away from all of that. So yeah, she did say I thought she said 3, but trans housing by proxy is definitely one of them. Buck said, so my trans and the kids argument ended up relying completely on the legal age of consent. I tried to grab numbers on the fly, and Google told me that the age is 16 in 30 states. Yep, and I believe in like Alabama or Mississippi or one of those Bible Belt backwoods areas, I believe it's 15, if not even 14. So yeah.
You were talking about, by definition, are generally going to be homosexual transsexuals. We're the ones interested in boys, and we generally grow up to be people like me. The other ones, you have onset at puberty. That's roughly around 7th grade, 12, 13, 14. That can be the autogynephilic type. What is important to understand about this is the AGP type. That's not the core thing motivating the behavior. It is a consequence of not being affirmed. It is now.
And that may be true, but I don't fucking care. That doesn't make you a woman. That doesn't make it acceptable in according to the norms of our society. That's just not relevant. Matthew King said the problem is their ridiculous ideas have never been scrutinized inside their bubble. It doesn't stand up to any type of criticism, falls apart immediately, as we can see here. So we let them have cards. Good luck with the innie, bro. Yikes. Any film that said that, hit that like button, lads. Yes, please do. It is free, and it helps out so very, very much. While you're at it, another free thing is to share the video. Plaster it wherever you can, guys. It does not matter. It doesn't even matter if you think people are going to click on your link. The fact that you are sharing the video will bring more people in, and YouTube will, oh, people like this. Let's show this to more people. So please hit that share button. It helps out so much. And of course, we do have our SWO goal. 3 out of 10 of just $2 or more, guys. You got this.
Motivating the behavior. It is a consequence of not being affirmed. It is a maladaptive coping mechanism.
Okay. Children shouldn't even be introduced to sexual ideas. You keep moving the goalposts. It is.
I'm trying to
homosexuality is a sexual orientation.
No one's talking about. You're talking about
you are
wearing tutus and
you gotta
playing with Barbies.
Chill out. Okay. So what age is it appropriate to have any of this type of discussion with a child? How old does a child need to be before you start introducing the ideas of sexual orientation, changing your gender?
You shouldn't talk about it. What you should do for those children.
Just do it. Don't even talk about it. Just as soon as you see your son playing with a doll or your daughter playing with Hot Wheels, just fucking sink. That's all. Hey, shout out to Funk Master General. Another $2 make you holler, gentlemen. You are holding up the stream. Thank you, in the best way. Not holding up the stream, but holding up the stream on your backs, gentlemen. What the hell did I just roll over? Thank you so much. And of course, that puts you right back next to Unwanted Foe as the co-sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Changing your gender.
You shouldn't talk about it. What you should do for those children at a young age is let them be themselves. If they want to play with Barbie.
That, again, is our argument. You're the one that wants to change them. Even if you're not saying that, or if you are saying that most of them shouldn't, you're still making the argument that you should change who they are in some cases. And so going back to what Witsit already originally said, what is the difference between the 90% that you disagree with and the 10% that you agree with? What's bad about the 90%? And how does that not apply to what the 10% is saying? Quality over on Rumble said a transmission from the Trans Am while being a transsexual homosexual with the tattoo of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. What does that make me? I don't know, but good one. Good one. Good one. I like the alliteration. Actually, that would be, no, there's alliteration and there's consonants. I paid attention in 4th grade language arts. I paid attention here. All right, what do we got here? I missed some of these. One of these. Buck said, it seems the age of consent is just a made-up number. We just made it up. You know, someone said 11. Yeah, but we made it up, and then we agree as a society based on the reasons that we would pick that number. And so, especially when these laws were being made, people weren't living as long, and so whether it be 16 or 18, or 15 or whatever it is, they decided that, okay, this is the bare minimum. And then based on biology, based on psychology, philosophy, that was what allowed this to develop. And as Brianna said, there's a medical protocol now. There's a protocol now, and that makes it fine. You know what else it was a protocol for? Gas in the juice. Hey, shout out to Matthew King. Thank you. And again, it does not matter that you have 0 followers. It's the fact that this link was shared. That really, really helps. So thank you very, 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 very much. Red in Action said, here's a crazy idea. If you're a guy that likes feminine things, you just like girly things. I don't know how it's so hard to understand that. Bingo. Exactly. That's the thing I've never understood about this. The whole idea is that people should be able to be comfortable with who they are. Exactly what Brianna just said. But they obfuscated that to being yourself means turning yourself into something that's not yourself. Being not yourself is yourself. And being yourself is not actually your true self. What? Semantic. Obfuscation. What? Oh, that was an accident. Hey, unwanted foe. To where you are battling and got us halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Thank you so very, very much, guys. 5 more and I'm on the floor. Look how skinny I am. Let's bulk me up. Thank you so very, very much. Box said if 15-year-olds can go to war, they can trans if they want to. In a world where 15-year-olds go to war. I mean, I guess, but I don't want a world where 15-year-olds are going to war. So technically, I mean, sure. Wanted Foe said you shouldn't talk about that. Wait, so you're just gonna make assumptions on behalf of the kids then? Yes. That's what this all is based on. Little nuggets of things that may or may not connect to what's going on in real life, and then just following it. Exactly. King Nirvana, lobotomy has a protocol. The doctor said it's okay, therefore it's okay. A doctor can't be wrong. Do you understand that a doctor knows the science and went to college? Jesus. Disrespect. Matthew said, are these people really that homophobic that they would rather cut themselves into pieces instead of just being gay? No, I don't think so. I think it is a social contagion of people telling them that if they, whatever pain they're in, if they're not saying that if you continue, you're just going to be a gay person. They say if you continue as you are, you're going to eventually end yourself. The only answer is to transition, according to these people. That's where the saying, would you rather have a dead kid or a trans kid, came from. That's the emotional argument that you have to do this or your kid's going to die. And that's just not true. And now even we're not even making that argument anymore. Yeah, I mean, you've accomplished your goal of transing kids in a different world that we don't exist in. Beautiful, beautiful. Colin said, I love the continents, especially Africa. All right.
Children at a young age is let them be themselves. If they
By yourself, I mean something completely the opposite.
want to play with Barbie dolls, let them play with Barbie dolls. They want to play with Taylor Swift, let them do that. If they want to watch girls cartoons, let them do that. I'm talking about just letting them be themselves.
Okay, and then
that's-
No, you're not.
once they hit puberty, if they still feel like they're more girly, then it's okay to transition. Now, I want you. Let's just.
I'm saying
We're gonna cut straight to
I
the
am
chase.
So again, we're talking about kids. And so she's saying, well, it will continue if you just hang on. So now we're talking about a child that has to be able to identify that they are, that they have gender dysphoria with enough, at a young enough age that by the time they hit puberty, we're not talking about 18. We're talking about hitting puberty. So you have to do it young enough that you have enough info or evidence or whatever to make it seem like there's a body of evidence that, oh, this person is supposed to trans himself. It's insane. It's insane. And just as insane as what Box is saying. Would you have a trans kid or a dead kid? That is that's abusive. That is abusive. Exactly. Only if we let them. Only if they let them. Connie said, I choose the dead kid. Oh my God. Oh, man. I mean, whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat.
Like they're more girly, then it's okay to transition. Now, I want you. Let's just.
I'm saying
We're gonna cut straight to the chase here.
saying that is the point.
Let's just cut
where
straight to
it
the chase.
makes
What are you
sense
advocating?
Where it makes sense for them to go to a therapist that can help them unpack those feelings.
Okay, so what are you advocating? You said there's different types of transition, right? So like emotional, psychological, chemical, medical, surgical. I don't know. You named them. What are you advocating for?
Yeah, what is that fate? What is that reaction?
Chemical, medical, surgical. I don't know. You
Is that not what you said? Is that not what you've been talking about for the past 30 minutes of this? Like, what? What? You said it. Like, bro, what are you doing? What the vote said puberty, the debatably most confusing part of any human life. We need the docs on standby to chop bits. No, thank you. So we didn't start the fire 2025 edition. I mean, pretty much.
transition, right? So like emotional, psychological, chemical, medical, surgical. I don't know. You named them. What are you advocating for? You for a 13-year-old boy who says, "I think I want to be a girl." Instead of like going and playing some sports and working out and be like, no, I just need to get the girl. I need to figure out how to get the girl. They're like, no, I'll be a girl. Okay. And so they're all confused and they're growing up and there's all these hormones going on. You're trying to figure out what's going on in the world. 13 says, I think I should be a girl. And we all know they're being propagandized. And that's
Yup. Interesting. Here, Matthew King said, my ex used to say shit like this all the time. She was going to end herself over everything. And it didn't stop till I called her bluff. Play that. How did that go? How did that go? Because I also had my high school girlfriend, who, and I'm pretty sure I heard them talk about other body dysmorphia type things. And so my college girlfriend, or not, excuse me, not my college girlfriend, my high school girlfriend had body issues in terms of eating. She was a binge and purge type person. So she would restrict herself all week and then until she couldn't anymore. And then she would just eat a shit ton. And like get sick from how much she ate. And her parents were kind of not sure how to handle it. And they were kind of leaning into it. And eventually she was, doing exactly that kind of stuff. And she had to go to a psych ward. And then they brought her home and they had her locked down in the house and all that stuff. And when these kids understand that, people in general understand that they have that much power in their words, it is scary if they want to use that for stuff like this. Because, you call the bluff and then you don't know that if you're saying I just told her to do it, it was done worrying about whether she did it or not. And fair, but like if she did do it, then of course it wouldn't be your fault. But I wonder how it would feel to have said that. And that's the unfair position that she put you in. Hey, shout out to Indie Film. Said fuck you. Said fuck you, unwanted foe, and fuck Master General. I am the sponsor now. There we go. Let's get a nice big one for Morty there. Said, here's one for all the crazy kids out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. Our new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. All right, let's dive back in and then we'll grab some more of these in a minute.
I figure out what's going on in the world. 13 says, I think I should be a girl. And we all know they're being propagandized, and that's the truth. And it's in the
What's
curriculum.
evidence for
It's in the
this?
curriculum. What's the evidence that children are being propagandized?
The propaganda and the fact that they're transitioning when they never were before.
Is that the question?
Well, okay.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
what?
Including
on.
in curriculum and all over their YouTube kids and everything. Okay. So say propagandized, thinks he wants to be a girl at 13. You're advocating they should be transitioned. I'm asking
That's
what
not what I said.
it is.
It's
It is,
absolutely not what I said.
it is what you said.
I'm going to repeat this to you. This is so bad faith. It is so frustrating. Y'all, I can sit here and
Even just saying this is so bad faith. How are you sure that he doesn't understand? Because I don't understand how he's wrong about your position. Maybe we're just wrong. It's not bad faith to be wrong. And this is your personal opinion. So we're just trying to understand what you're saying. That's not bad faith. Semantic obfuscation.
this is so bad faith. It is so frustrating. Y'all, I can
Y'all?
sit here and list every single study. I can talk about every
Do it. Do it. Do it.
aspect of this. He doesn't
I've heard you say
understand enough about the subject to have a genuine discussion.
Okay.
about
Poisoning the
healthcare.
well, ad
about
hominems,
healthcare
red
policy.
herrings, appeals to emotion. Next.
Well, I mean, that's not projection, but I mean, she's projecting as well. Where were we? With equality and deference, just keep a silver stake on you at all times. I'm good. Yeah, bad faith sounds like transtardation. It's crazy out there. It's crazy out there, kids. Petrie said you can't unnorm things without being special. You have to have your asshole clenched so tight about your beliefs that if you shit out coal, the diamond that pops out better shine as bright as you. Slay, queen. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, shout out to Guamtech for that amazing, amazing super chat. We really, really do appreciate it. Rhett said, something I have noticed is, excuse me, let's try that one again. Something I have noticed is that most people, one of my friends, for example, learned about and then wanted to be trans from the internet. Bingo. Just something I noticed. Yeah, and this is a super, 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 super common thing, and they want to pretend that it's not. They want to pretend that it's not, and it just is. That's it. That's it. They see it, and that's how they're introduced to it, and they want it, and then it's a circle. Box said, kids that age need purpose. They used to have it. Puberty is only confusing in the modern world. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was very confused going through puberty. Not about, whether I wanted to be a boy or a girl or my sexuality, but just about, being what was happening to my body, what it was all about. I was starting to be, actually, I was interested in girls pretty early. I remember my preschool. There was a girl that I was like, oh, I like her. But anyway, but you're absolutely right about the kids that age need a purpose. And the thing that served as a teenager's purpose used to be things like, playing on the sports team, being a cheerleader, being a metalhead, being into D&D, being, with things like that, hobbies that you could build your personality around, but didn't have to be the specific driver of who you are as a person. And now that's gone. That is gone. And any film confirms there definitely there was definitely a medical protocol for the body. I mean, there still is. They just don't do it anymore. But yeah, that was a medical procedure. I wish you would bring that up. That would be good. We got that one. That's the way I took it. She mentioned puberty specifically. Yep. Yeah, he doesn't agree with me, so that's bad faith. Come on. Oh my goodness. Funk Master General again. Thank you. So very, very much, guys. That's 7 out of 10. 3 more and we hit our goal. 3 more and we hit our goal, guys. Thank you so very, very much. Matthew King said, nobody wants to believe they're part of a fad. It's not a phase, Mom. It's not a phase. We were revolutionary in high school when grunge was huge. Then it faded away. Yep. And we had millennials had being emo. And before that, there was being anorexic for women or girls, really. But yeah, it's always been there. It's just now been filled by something that has enough bullshit and enough academic substance, because there is academic substance, but all that proves or shows is that just because something has academic substance doesn't mean it has practical substance. Yeah, we got that one, and all right, let's dive back in here.
Can we
No,
say, can we
I'm
answer the
saying you
question?
don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, that is just a baseless assertion. It's not an actual rebuttal. I asked you a simple question. What are you even here advocating for? You said there's different types of transition. You use that to muddy the water when you were asked another specific
It's not.
question.
It's a medical fact.
Okay, so what type of transitioning are you advocating for children?
So I'm going to say this to you again.
I mean, well, this too shall pass in terms of the attitudes, but once you do these surgeries, that doesn't do anything. I wore girl jeans. I wanted to wear eyeliner. My hair didn't grow like this when I was in high school, but I tried to have the swoopy hair. All that can be undone. All that is fashion. And they just created a permanence to the fashion aspect. That's why it's an issue. If it wasn't something that was permanent, then who would care?
Advocating for children.
So I'm going to say this to you again.
This is a very
And I
straightforward
really
question.
hope you can hear me. I know it's hard for you to look at me, but try it. It may help you process it
It is hard to look at you.
this time. The non-binaries, don't do it. The female males, don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't transition them.
Transition
Let them
how?
wait.
Right, so there's different types.
Don't medically transition them.
Medically
Or-
transition. Let's talk about what does that mean?
Ah.
or-
What does that mean?
I'm going to answer your question. And I may need the moderator to step in. I'm not going to send this entire thing on the back.
Mommy, help me. I can't defend my own ideas, so you need to help me. But I said eyeliner makes guys hotter. Okay. Girls tend to like it. It's strange. I actually don't think it is strange because makeup is specifically made to make your face look more appealing. It's just not normal for men to care about doing that. But that's what eyeliner is made for, is to make your eyes look more, I don't know, when you have that shit on. Well, he said, whoa now, wearing girls' clothes, you sick bastard. No, that was the fad. That was how you got laid with girls. Wearing their pants. Having a smaller, I used to be able to fit into a size 0. And the girls were not happy about that. But yeah, that was the fad. That was the fad. And I did not think it was a fad, but indeed it was a fad. Oh, we are at 4.5 minutes till the goal is over, guys. 4.5 minutes. We are so close. We are so close. Wonderful said, I'm not going to spend this entire thing on the defense. Well, if your arguments made sense, then you wouldn't be in that situation. And I mean, that, like, yes, of course, but she feels like she's on her back foot. But the point is, she absolutely would be in that position. That's what she's here to do, is to defend her position. Now she's mad that she has to defend her position. Matthew said, did you see the people on TikTok losing their minds over the 9-year-old that got a tattoo of the flag on her neck? She wanted a portrait of Trump, but the artist talked her into a flag instead. I did not see that. I have not seen that. But gotta be honest, it doesn't sound super interesting. I mean, again, I don't think it's a good idea to tattoo children for the same principled reason that I don't think it's a good idea to trans children. But tattoos are tattoos, So this reminds me of A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a phase, dear. It'll pass. I don't want it to pass. Yep. I want to vote, so we need an appeal to moderators fallacy. Indeed. Hey, Indy Boom. Thank you so much for the $2. That's 8, guys. That's 8. 2 more. And I'm on the floor. We got 3 minutes left. Said pour one out for Rhett. Well, I'm not going to pour one. I'm not going to pour anything on my keyboard, but I will give him a dilly. Dilly, sir. All right, under 3 minutes. We can do this, guys. We can do it the best.
Question, and I may need the moderator to step in. I'm not going to send this entire thing on the back foot. This has to be some good faith.
You're
This has
saying
to
that we
be
should
some
abuse
back and
children.
forth.
You're taking the affirmative.
So the final type is the male to female transsexual. And this is what I would say. If a child has early onset, like around 5 years old, you need to not rush it. You need to not medicalize this very quickly. It's very important to go slow. I would also say it's very important to find a non-ideological doctor. It is absolutely true that a lot of these gender clinics are held by the progressive fringe, and they're pushing medicalization on these kids. So make really sure you've got a doctor that you trust and that you will be able to answer questions to. So do not medically transition those kids. Do let them start exploring themselves, because what you're probably going to find 90% of those times is those males are just going to grow up to be gay. Now, in the 10%.
So that's the 90% that we all agree on. Don't trans those kids. Shout out to Unwanted Foe, Funk Master General, and out sponsoring himself, Indyville. Let's go one at a time. We got one for Unwanted Foe. There we go. Then we got our boy Funky Fresh, Funky Master. There we go. And our new, well, not new, out sponsoring himself, Indyville. Thank you guys so very, very much. That goal is reached. So at the end of the stream, I am going to be doing those 20 push-ups. I hope I could get some muscles soon, and I think you guys should work out with me. Thank you again so very, very much. Hell yeah. Boys being boys. Thank you so very much, guys. That really, really, really means the world to me. Thank you so much. And again, a big thank you to Indyville, out sponsoring himself. Thank you. Guamtech said, Brianna just doesn't believe women should be equal with men when it comes to transitioning. Yeah, that's her argument. And there is a reality to the fact that boys and girls are different. So if you do X to a boy and you do X to a girl, it's reasonable to think that it's going to be different. Whether what she's actually saying is true is a different story. But I mean, it is different. It's just not different enough for her point to be there. So Equality and Difference said, you keep saying she and her. That annoys me. Well, I'm not going to do extra work because of a tranny. Like, we have a man and a woman. And so it's easier for me to say she and her and he and him. So I'm not going to let this make my life harder. Do I think that's a woman? No. But if I say she, you know which one I'm talking about. Shout out to Box with the gifted membership. Thank you so very much. Shout out to Derek Reynolds. You are now a member of the channel, which includes full access to the Discord server. Just click the link at the top of the chat, and you'll be able to not only see the entire server, but we are going to the after party as soon as I'm done with those push-ups. But let's dive back in here. We'll do another short goal, see if we want to add another 10 push-ups. Let's try that.
Those times in themselves, because what you're probably going to find 90% of those times is those males are just going to grow up to be gay. Now, in the 10% chance where puberty onsets and they still have these feelings, I think it makes sense to go to a therapist, see if it makes sense to transition, leave a door open there.
Right, but you already established that some there are good faith doctors, but we don't know for sure that any one of them is going to be. So you already don't understand your own body, your own self. Yet you're supposed to be able to determine if a doctor is able to understand what I don't understand.
What?
If you don't understand it, how are you able? Like, if I'm struggling with my math homework, how am I to determine who is a good math tutor if I don't know the math? I have to be able to trust that because of the fact that you are a tutor, you are not just going to tell me that if I said 2 + 2 = 5, that I'm right because I'm paying you. Not the same with gender affirming care. Not at all. One of us said, I'll make the concession that's 99.999% of kids, not 90. Just anything to stay in the right. Matthew said it's sad that they're mutilating the next generation of gay guys and lesbians for that matter. Yep. Red said debates go like this: state, explain, defend. I've known that for years. This lady is doing state, defend, state, defend. I mean, she's doing a lot more state than defend. She's trying, but a lot more. Box said therapists be a bunch of man haters as a whole.
Bingo.
As somebody who has a degree in psychology, got my my bachelor's degree in psychology, every single one of my classes was 99% women and weird chicks, weird people. So confirmed. Yeah, college said linguistic expediency, understandable but still annoying. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so Dietrich's, it's I am still monetized, but they'll copyright the Louis C.K. thing. But come through the after party, we can start that off. Oh yeah, I know for sure. Matthew said, I kind of agree with her, but mostly because any doctor that isn't already captured by the left is going to say, no, we're transitioning this kid. Any doctor that isn't already captured. Oh, it's going to say, no way we're transitioning this kid. Yeah, agreed. But the fact is, there's too many out there who are captured. And that's why we see so much rising sentiment of detransition. Buckmaster General said, if there's no more gay dudes and lesbians, who's going to cut my lawn and clean my bathroom? How dare you? I hit the thing by accident, and I had to switch over and pretend like I wasn't making fun of you. But I meant to say,
How dare you?
Donald Trump, who's going to clean your toilets? Dietrich said Brianna needs to man up and own her logical fallacies. She gets so butthurt, and frankly, it's gay. Get the sand out of your surgical wound. Yikes. Shout out to Equality and Deference. You have a good one. Yeah, gross. Again, guys, real quick, will you not hit that like button? Please do smash it. Smash it.
See if it makes sense to transition. Leave a door open there, but make it for the most serious, long, documented cases. Symptomology has to drive treatment. All I'm saying is there should be a window open there for those cases.
You didn't specifically answer it. So
How did I not answer that?
What are the bad things that appear in the 90% that don't appear in the 10%? That's the question.
well, I'm happy to explain. Do you advocate specific medical transitioning of children? Don't say I think they should go to a therapist. Answer the question.
Yeah.
Are you saying they should be surgically transitioned?
Should
they be surgically transitioned?
In those very rare cases, what makes sense to me is surgery should be off the table. And the good news is the Plastic Surgeon Society has just said they are not going to operate on any more minors. So these horror stories of girls getting mastectomies at 14, that's not going to happen.
So we agree that's child abuse.
That's not going to happen anymore.
So we agree on that.
What I am saying.
Do we agree?
So by not answering, silence is an answer. Silence is an answer. Deflecting is also an answer. Rhett said you can run from your demons until you are exhausted. One day you'll have to stop and find out what they wanted. Scary. Box says, this is indefensible. Props to her for trying, though. I'm not going to give her that props for trying to normalize and convince people that we should trans kids. I mean, in terms of her effort, sure, but I'm not going to pat her on the back for doing this at all.
That's child abuse.
That's not going to happen anymore.
So we agree on that.
What I am saying.
Do we agree that's child abuse?
What I'm saying is
How about bad faith?
for those kids, I'm saying it makes sense to get them on hormones, anti-androgens and estrogen, and to make sure that their body is not damaged by testosterone, and to let them start socially transitioning.
Okay. What about when that?
So here, let's go back. Let's see. Let's pretend we have no idea what they look like. Either of them.
For those kids, I'm saying it makes sense to get them on hormones, anti-androgens and estrogen, and to
it's legitimately sounds like a trans woman. It literally sounds like a man who transitioned. That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't sound like a man, because the vocal fry. That's part of the unnatural aspect of lowering your voice. When I should have started. Whoever said testosterone is a hell of a drug. Yep. Buck said the battlefield of ideas. No one will run on this for the next 100 years at this point. Well, dilly to that. I stand corrected, sir. I stand corrected. Montefiore said at best, some chick who's been smoking since she transitioned as a kid. It's too deep to be female, but not quite male. Yep. And so dude does fall in that category. Well done.
That their body is not damaged by testosterone, and to let them start socially transitioning.
Okay. What about when that boy decides that he doesn't want to be a girl in 3 years?
I told you the odds of that are, there's no study.
That's not the question. The question is, does this happen a lot? No. The question is, in hypothetical individual transitions and then decides that they don't want to be trans anymore. That's the fucking question.
That he doesn't want to be a girl in 3 years.
He, the one person that we're talking about. This is a hypothetical. What did you? How would you feel if you didn't eat yesterday? Idrik says she sounds like RK Jr. after he clears his throat. Oh, yikes!
I told you the odds of that are, there's no study I can point to that says that's going to happen.
So you're just making the baseless claim, and you're appealing to the absence of
I'm
evidence.
telling you.
Yep, just saying things. Bugmaster said I actually knew a pretty hot girl that sounded like that. Or a really butch chick. Fair enough.
So you're just making the baseless claim, and you're appealing to the absence of
I'm
evidence.
telling you, there's
You're
no
appealing-
scientific
You're
basis for what you're
appealing
worried
to
about.
the absence of evidence to say that there's going to be nobody that changes their mind. That's your argument.
Yep, intellectualize. So that's like asking, do you like pineapple on your pizza? And you answer, well, most people don't. Yep. Hypothetically, if there was a child who transitioned and then they wanted to, they regretted that decision, what is your answer, Brianna? That is the question. My answer should be, we should do this, or we should do this. That's the answer. Whatever this is. Just saying, well, that doesn't happen is not an answer to the question. Teacher says, I could say things. Why am I not getting paid to be wrong? I mean, hey, I'm out here trying to spit facts and not for our boys here, you know, I'd be in the same position. Buck said girls can get their boobs back. Men can't get their dicks back. Yep. The ideology behind it is more insidious than it seems on its face, when it already seems extremely insidious on its face. Mrs. Tech says she sounds like a middle-aged lesbian. Fair enough. Wonderful said, F, pineapple on pizza. It's just mushy and gross. Grill that pineapple on a barbecue and it becomes so much better. The way, I mean, again, I'm from Jersey, so we do everything pizza better. But the pineapple pizza we have around here, you wouldn't get. It's not pineapple pizza. It's Hawaiian. But it's fire. It's fire. The salty and sweet is. If you don't like pineapple on pizza, because I don't really like pineapple that much, it's the mixture. But make sure it's not just bad pizza before you shit on it. It's hard to mess up just plain pizza. It might not be amazing, but it's hard to mess up plain pizza. Rhett says there's no scientific basis to your argument because it's not scientific, it's psychological. Yeah, and it's not a. It's a matter of asking what she personally thinks is the appropriate solution to a given situation, and saying, well, that situation doesn't happen. Okay, but we're trying to understand what you believe about the situation. So we're coming up with a hypothetical to see what you would do. Well, it doesn't happen. Like, Jesus Christ.
Come on, man.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Say that there's going to be nobody that changes their mind. That's your argument. So if there are some that change their mind, which there obviously are, Okay,
They
you can
tend
just
to
go to
be- they
TikTok
tend to
and
be
watch people
AGP
bawl their
and
eyes
late
out about how
transitions.
they got tricked into transitioning by these perverted adults that are sexual deviants, and now they wish they could go back. So you're claiming that doesn't exist at all.
No,
If
that's
it-
not
if
what
it-
I'm saying. I'm
okay.
saying it's a different cohort in a way you don't understand.
If it
That's ballsy.
this is your whole argument. It just you don't understand. Oh,
you don't understand.
You don't understand my plight. If only you understood. And then you appeal to the emotion of the audience, but you don't address what I'm saying.
That's horseshit. I'm talking
Dude,
about policy and science
dude,
and cohorts and things we know.
In the scenario,
Hey, we all love a good side quest. Come on, we all love a side quest. Well, there's a pineapple on pizza only with prosciutto, caramelized onions, and bacon. That sounds fire. That sounds fire.
Talking
Dude,
about policy and science
dude,
and cohorts
dude,
and things we know.
in the scenario that someone changes their mind, okay, do you agree that's a bad thing?
Let me walk you through.
Just answer the fucking question. It's a yes or no question. Would this be bad? Yes, it would be bad. Or no, it wouldn't be bad. Yes, it would be bad, but we have this, that solution. Or no, it wouldn't be bad at all. It's not complicated.
Someone changes their mind, okay, do you agree that's a bad thing?
Let me walk you through why someone changes their mind. This is complicated.
Do you
So
agree?
ju-
Okay, so let's not talk about the complicated aspect of it and just talk about the simple aspect of it. They decided. Why they decided is irrelevant to what we're asking you about. Why they decided is completely another conversation. They've decided. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Yeah, right? Is this Senate confirmation or something? Sure seems like it. She definitely thinks she's that important.
Let me walk you through why someone changes their mind. This is complicated.
Do you
So
agree
just-
it's a bad thing?
I'm not going to keep going on my back foot. You're going to let me explain things to the
See, that's not like that's what he's here for, dude. He's literally here to put you on your back foot and show that your position is wrong. You're literally here to show that your position is right and defend what you believe. That's what a debate is.
audience can understand this so they can learn something.
Well, you're trying to
So
actually not address
there-
exact points.
there
Go
are
ahead and let her
multiple-
finish this thought.
Okay.
Thank you. There are multiple kinds of transsexuals. Okay. So one of the things that's happened with this progressive project is transvestites have been rolled into the transsexual category.
Yeah, because we're all equal. LGBTIAQ++, 2S, all that bullshit. And if I'm saying, going back to a question earlier, just as you cannot transition into the opposite sex, you also cannot fully detransition back because the damage done is permanent. And that's why this is something that people care about. And the trans will be like, why do you care so much about what's in people's hands? Like the emotional argument. It's just weird. It's weird. You're weird for caring about the well-being of children. You're weird for thinking about thinking that the well-being of children is mutilating their genitals. That's it. Hate him or love him, you guy would be a great lawyer. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know about that. Good lawyers prove their argument. Good lawyers answer questions or avoid questions in such a way that isn't obvious that, oh, I didn't want to answer that question because the answer helps you. Yikes. My son said she needs to answer and then justify. Why not justify before the answer? Because she wants to do what she wants to do, and she already thinks that she's right. And she already thinks that everybody who disagrees is bad faith or bigoted or whatever. That's why. It's the perception of how dare you even question what I'm saying. I just call him gay. I forgot all the letters at this point. Teachers, can you believe over 20 years, we went from which ear you got an earring and as a boy determine if you're gay to chopping off boys' dicks. How did we get there? How did we get there? I remember that. I remember being worried about, like, wait, which is the gay ear? Which is the gay ear? Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Exactly. And if said a good lawyer knows the answer to the question before the question is asked. And that's why if you're not going to answer the question, it's not going to be obvious that you're not answering the question. It's going to be a good deflection.
Is transvestites have been rolled into the transsexual category. When I transitioned 20 years ago, no one was talking about putting transvestites. males that get a sexual fetish from wearing women's clothing on HRT. Today, those people are rolled into the trans umbrella. Some of them have some gender dysphoria, but they are people with very lurid fantasies of being a woman. And what you're seeing in a lot of these detransitioner cases is these are people with low body dysmorphia that are not really strongly wanting to transition, and it's not serving them. And they are finding that life as a woman is difficult and does not serve them. This is why this progressive project.
Is it that living as a woman isn't their problem, or is it the fact that they've already had a list of issues and they assumed, were told, that transitioning would solve those problems? It's not about being a woman or being a man. That's the whole point here, is that it's not about what your gender is. It's not about if you switch your gender, all your problems go away. That's what they've essentially what they've been pushing. Anyone said this person has it backwards. The T and the LGBT was transvestite way before the trans community showed up. Yup. I mean, she has been talking about transsexuals, to be fair, but she's very confused.
Woman is difficult and does not serve them. This is why this progressive project to take away all medical guidelines, the same set of procedures I had to go through to transition, you don't have to follow that anymore today. So the detransitioners are not the boys who said they had an issue when they were 14 years old, statistically.
So when there is one, then you would...
It's not them. It is adults with a long history of fetishistic cross-dressing and low body dysmorphia who find it does not serve them.
Okay, so
The trans people will be like, I chose to make my life more difficult. Why aren't you helping me? Meanwhile, half of the laws have changed. The entire cultural landscape has changed. But yeah.
Fetishistic cross-dressing and low body dysmorphia.
Why are you helping me?
okay, so this is the problem. It's just like big monologue, not address the question specifically.
It's policy. It's policy. I'm trying to explain.
immediately-
Nobody asked you about policy. He asked you a very pointed question about a boy that transitions and then regrets it. That is all. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
You're
Complicated stuff
censoring
to you.
me. Okay, chill out. So like you're afraid to answer the questions
I'm
directly,
not.
and you are.
They're
so,
just too complicated for you to understand.
No,
If good or bad, my answer is you're too dumb to understand. What? Okay, dude.
no, they're not. They're not. You're talking about sexualizing children. It's disgusting.
You're switching
So-
topic.
No, I'm not.
You're not
No, I'm
looking at anything I just said.
10
We're
seconds in,
talking
every time
about
I get,
adults.
dude, you're freaking out. So
Notice no appeal to the moderator.
the reality of the situation is I asked you point blank what transitioning should be allowed. Then I said, okay, because you just said statistically they're not going to detransition. Well, just a second ago, there were no studies whatsoever. There were no numbers, no data.
There's no science for this. I mean, how are we going to know? How are we going to know? The statistics are small, but there's no science. How does that work? Oh, my goodness. Shout out to Almost said it. Shout out to Funk Master Gerald. We're going to give him a double for that. My misspeak. A double for that. My bad. Shout out the $20 make you holler. Said the Overlord is king above all. Thank you. Here, there's another one. Right here. Oh, what's it? Oh, you got a fatty one, huh? You got a fatty one. There you go. Thank you so very, very much. And you guys know that keeps the party raging. Thank you. FMG the legend, indeed. I really hope if you guys are watching a free show and you're not hitting the like button, you're not sharing, you're at least liking the chats when people are paying money to keep it going. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Wonderful. It's so unfair that Funky always gets the balloons and confetti, which each of his super chats. Well, some people are more special than others. I don't know. It's hilarious. He did it's three in this stream, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 plus the 20. 4 plus the 20 in this stream. And every single time, let's celebrate the third super on a live chat. I am happy to do so. Thank you. Oh, I love you guys.
They're not going to detransition. Well, just a second ago, there were no studies whatsoever. There were no numbers, no data.
That's right.
Oh, but now we can invoke statistics. Do you know what statistics?
She said that's right. Yeah, there's no statistics, but let's appeal to the statistics.
Stupid.
Studies whatsoever. There were no numbers, no data.
That's right.
Oh, but now we can invoke statistics. Do you know what statistics means? A certain percentage of something. Statistics. You can't invoke statistics without the data. You're just making stuff up. That's what's actually happening.
There's a
You're making
literal
stuff up.
study
You're
where they
making stuff up.
tracked
Hey, let me
people.
finish. Let me finish. Thank you. So,
You shouldn't get to talk when I have things that should be said. I am the arbiter of what is important to be said. I'm talking, or even though you're talking, I am more important because I am a strong trans woman. Look at me roar. Shout out to Trey Williams in the building. Welcome to the party, sir. Thank you. Very, very much appreciated. Always a pleasure to see ya. Welcome.
There's a
you're making
literal
stuff
study
up. You're
where they
making stuff up.
tracked
Hey, let me
people.
finish. Thank you. So you're making stuff up and you keep appealing to the emotion of the
Not
audience.
true.
Vague
That
claims,
is
just
true.
like baseless assertions. There's no evidence. Statistics.
All right. Whoa, back down to 7. So we started at 14. We went up to 24 or 26, something like that. Now we're back down to 17. And they're only 39 out of an hour, or 39 minutes out of an hour and 43. There's a long way to go. And it's only going to get worse for Brianna. Yikes. Montefiore said a study by itself is meaningless unless there are multiple studies that can either support or deny the findings of that study. I mean, meaningless is a strong word, but in terms of, a conclusion that we should unfold medically, especially on children, certainly not enough for one study. And especially if these types of studies, specifically in the gender trans stuff, you have small groups, you have people who are already predisposed to go along with what the conclusion they want is, all of that stuff. And that's why it's so important to understand the difference between the science and the process that is science. Red said she had a sigh to show that she was a strong and trans female. So strong, so brave. Gonzag said, where are all the trans pets at? Even crazy vegan ladies believe so hard that they force their cats to be vegan. I would not be surprised. I absolutely have heard of people saying that, they refer to their pets as they, them. Absolutely, I've heard of that. Absolutely.
Motion of
Not
the eyes.
true.
Vague claims, just like baseless assertions. There's no evidence. Statistically speaking.
You were too
And my
stupid to have this
question-
conversation with.
There you go.
Literally.
They're good.
You don't.
Projection. And ad hominem, obviously.
understand
Good
anything.
one. That's called an ad hom, buddy.
You're just stupid.
hey.
You don't know anything about
Based, bro.
this.
You're freaking out.
You're a dumbass.
All right. Good one.
You're really not smart.
Your hormones out of balance, Brianna.
Let Witsit answer this, and then we'll give you a
Yeah,
chance to
someone's getting
respond
triggered.
back to it.
All right. So
Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Someone's getting triggered.
That sounds like getting triggered to me.
yeah, you're getting super triggered. So my question was very simple. What about when they change their mind?
I've already answered this.
No, you didn't.
Oh, you
This is
didn't.
not-
See,
Can
okay.
we get the
she'll-
moderator to give some structure here? This
They'll
is
never
bullshit.
answer the question because the truth is,
I've
it's,
answered it multiple
okay.
times.
So
The
then,
moderator,
are you
can we-
saying that?
Remember, it was good or bad. It was a yes or no. When that happens, is it good? Yes or no? That was the question. At no point we said yes, this is good, or no, that's not. That's not good. Or it depends because of this, that, and that. She's not made these arguments. She's just saying the things that she already believes. Any film says 0 actual peer-reviewed studies that support this nonsense. There's 0 actual peer-reviewed studies that support this nonsense. And this is from the source people. It is a psychological disorder brought on by environmental issues, unless you are Amish. I don't know what that part means, but it's funny. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty. I was expecting the Sunday to be much bigger, but Saturday was huge. But yeah, not a lot of people there. And this one was also, there was a bunch of us, Andrew Wilson and his crew weren't in there, so that was a lot of the convention, the Crucible people. Red said, man, the Indian Jesus show really fell off after the side character took Morty's spotlight. Sorry. Bugmaster said, listen, sir, it's not a serious conversation to begin with, so relax, you freak. He found the best line from the movie The Hangover. You are literally stupid. You are literally too stupid to insult. Thanks.
They'll never answer the question because the truth is,
I've answered it multiple
okay.
times.
So then,
Moderator,
are you saying that's just a? Why is the moderator being invoked? She just monologued. He just monologued the whole time. Then I go to talk and immediately get cut off.
I'm not cutting you off. You asked the question. She says she's already answered it. If you
But she didn't.
can't concisely summarize that answer, then we'll move on to the next topic.
The question is, you allow some of those children to medically transition with the doctor, but a very low number with
That's not the question.
very high.
Good or
That wasn't
bad? Bad, yes or no?
Question. The question is, what about when they change their mind? Okay, and the answer is that the suicide rate is astronomical. Something else
Actually, you asked the question. Let her answer.
She's not answering though, bro. This is I forget his name. I think it was George. Great guy. Really helped out a lot in the organization of the thing, but not a good moderator. Matthew said, every time she talks, I get this weird urge to scream, "It's ma'am!" I'm not sure why. Yeah, I don't know where could that possibly come from? Well, like I said, I didn't know the singer from System of a Down was moderating debates. That's his older brother. That's his uncle.
And the answer is that the suicide rate is astronomical. Something else.
Actually, you asked a question. Let her answer. What if they change their mind?
It's very statistically unlikely.
That's not an answer. We heard you say that already. Did you think that we didn't hear you say that? That is not an acceptable answer to the question. That is not addressing what the question is asking.
Likely to happen. There's no study to show this happens. I was literally talking to one of the specialists in this field.
But we just established that there's not any studies about anything in this field. So unless you are saying that it's impossible for somebody to change their mind, then just answer the fucking question, please.
There's no study to show this happens. I was literally talking to one of the specialists in this field last week who said in decades of doing this work, he's never seen this happen.
Okay. 10th consecutive time to answer question wasn't answered. So I'm asking you when it does happen. So it's fine. I'm going to now make my point. About it, which is that it can cause suicidal thoughts. It's incredibly detrimental, and everyone knows that. And the suicide rates are through the roof. Something else is they're finding that autism is very prevalent within this community, within transgenderism. So we're talking about people that are confused, people that are struggling. They're being propagandized with all these different sexualized ideas that have sexual fetishes embedded within them, and then they're given all kinds of these irreversible interventions. And when they decide, or they find out later that they were tricked and they change their mind, they become suicidal. So can we agree that that's a very dangerous thing on it?
Yes. And it's the same type of thing. Not exactly, but the same type of thing when we see the anger from the militant atheists. It's not because they're bad people necessarily. Some of them are. But it's because everything that they've been taught, now believe is a lie. And I'm wonderful. It's so spot on. The science didn't say, so therefore we can't say. We can't use our brains to talk about life at all. Unless the science says it first. But he's too stupid. He's a flat earther, and you're losing to him. And he's too stupid. Okay, dude.
They become suicidal. So can we agree that that's a very dangerous thing on its face, that the reason that you advocate for dropping the number down 90% is because it's so dangerous that people can become suicidal if we actually allow them to transition and they change their mind?
They are the female to males, which are very...
So again, it's a yes or no question. Just yes, that's what I'm saying. And then elaborate more. Or no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. I don't understand why, and this is not just her, this is not just trans people, this is not just, it's not even just lefty people. This is a common problem. People just, they want to say what they want to say because they don't feel like answering the question is going to help them. But you can't just try to dominate a conversation like that unless you're really, really good at it, in which case, go for it. But then you're not even addressing the substance of the conversation. So unless you're just doing it for clicks, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?
Transition and they change their mind.
They are the female to males, which are a very, very new cohort. this did not exist. Like, do y'all realize Buck Angel was like one of the first female to male
What does that have to do with a boy changing his mind after he transitions?
transsexuals? Like, this is.
If you guys don't know,
really-
that's a porn star because
This
this is
is
all
a-
just sexual
hold on.
deviancy.
Go ahead, let her answer.
Good point. I mean, Buck Angel is indeed a porn star and kind of falls into what he was saying. Yeah, I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was a flat earther, but apparently that's his claim to fame. But yeah, she definitely is not a master debater,
it's a
If you guys
real-
except with the,
don't know, that's a porn star because this is all just sexual
hold on.
deviancy.
Go ahead, let her answer.
This is a very new phenomenon. And unlike my debate opponent, I actually sit here and look at the numbers, and that informs the
What numbers? You're the one that said there's no numbers.
policy that I support. We're not going to have a vibes-based gender.
Projection. We're not going to have a vibes-based gender. What else is there? What else is there? That said me when I'm avoiding the question, competition, and my opponent is a strong trans female.
Like healthcare system is got to be based on the studies. And by the way, this area is so criminally under-researched. One example,
But yet you're so certain on the science.
you brought up the typology and AGP. This is like the numbers that they are using to force this typology. It is tiny. So every aspect of this is criminally under-researched.
Then stop appealing to the research, you fucking moron.
Okay. Survey found 8% of respondents had detransitioned temporarily or permanently at some point, and that the majority did so temporarily. Rates of detransition were higher in transgender women, 11%, and transgender men, 4%.
Who's
so
this
is just
according to?
U.S. transgender survey from 2015 with a cross-sectional non-probability study of 27,715 TDD.
Right.
Now again, he gets dinged in points for reading like that, as if we are all seeing it. But I'll give him a pass since she's very prone to interrupt him and stuff. But when you're reading, think about how much stronger this would have hit this thing that he just read out if he read it slowly and dramatically.
Survey from 2015 with a cross-sectional non-probability study of 27,715 TDD.
Right.
No surveys exist, though. I mean, that just one
I said
immediate.
for that
Oh.
survey, which I took, this is why you don't understand what you're talking about. That survey, which I took, had adults in it like me. Anyone could click on a link and follow it. My claim
Yep. So there's no studies, no science has been done. The only science that has been done says the opposite, but we need to follow the studies that didn't happen.
was for minors.
No.
which you're not
Your actual
following.
claim was that when someone does it male to female after puberty, that they basically
If it's
never
early
decide to go back.
onset,
That's what you said.
If it's early onset.
Okay, now can we agree on this? That the autogonophilia aspect of
I
it is
cannot continue this debate if it's just me on my back foot. It is
Then do better. Do better. What do you mean? I can't do this debate if I'm not going to win.
what?
How entitled do you have to be in life to go to DebateCon and do a debate and then be mad that you have to debate? It's not like this is someone who is foreign to this world. Like, I wasn't sure if maybe I was going to cover, and I still might. We'll see, depending on what else is out there. But the very first debate of the whole weekend was Andrew Wilson versus FTFE. Cool dude, Craig. I met him. Very cool dude. But this was his first in-person debate, and I mean, Andrew Wilson's good at what he does, and it didn't go so well. So I thought that would have been a good thing for for the fact that eventually we're going to be seeing myself talk to Andrew. The fact that there was a lot for me to add that Craig didn't represent as well. But like, yeah, it's like she's never been questioned in person. I mean, you say that, but she's very active online. That's what is very confusing to me. It's like you have these conversations all the time, but you must be in such an echo chamber that when it gets to this point, then you just block the person and say they're bad faith, all these things. But now you're in person, so you're stuck. Always behind the keyboard.
aspect of
I
it
cannot continue this debate. If it's just me on my back foot, it has got to be some structured questions.
She has answered that.
I mean, he's giving you questions. You're just not answering them. The structure is this bad? Well, studies that don't exist say I can't do this on my back foot. Then do better. Oh, I get it. I get it. What's happening here is that this is a DEI debate. So Brianna thinks that because she's the more oppressed, she's the more oppressed person, then automatically wins. Yep. Simping for a dude. Yep. Yeah. Just ask him questions then. Exactly. Just do that. Just do that. Like, I don't know why. Let's just keep going.
If it's just me on my back foot, it has got to be some structured questions.
She has answered that question, so go ahead.
No, she didn't.
What do you want to pose to Witsit?
So this is my question.
You'll get a chance after this.
All right, here we go.
So how do you think, God, it's hard to even understand where to go.
But we're stupid. You don't know how to articulate a question to even try to understand anybody else, but we're stupid. Okay, dude.
How do you think, God, it's hard to even understand where to go.
So you wanted structured questions, but you didn't even fucking have any. So what are you doing here?
So how, if a child does not have sexual understanding, or at least I didn't, maybe you did when 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sexual understanding meaning what?
Why are you concluding that this is sexuality when the child is that young? Because for
What else is it? What else would? How else would you categorize it?
most of these kids, it's identity. They see girls in their group and they want to play with them. They want to play
I mean, I definitely agree with that.
with Barbies. They want to wear tutus. Why are you coming up with this degenerate, weird idea that it's about sex? It's literally just about you trying to act like yourself.
Projection. That is exactly what Lance from Surf's TV did when he was on the Culture War, and they were talking about Jazz Jennings. Like, oh, that's weird. You're weird. This is weird that you care so much. You're the ones pushing this shit. We're just responding to it.
You just said that oftentimes one of the reasons we should be cautious is because really it turns out they're homosexual. So you're
Sounds sexual to me.
talking.
Most gay people know they're gay when they're younger.
Okay, but you're glossing past. You asked, why is this sexual? Why are you making it sexual? The answer is, well, actually, you made it sexual by bringing up homosexuality. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, now another thing.
They're homosexual. So you're talking.
Most gay people know they're gay when they're younger, but they don't have the language for it. It's
That's
not
what
sexual.
you say. Okay, so this entire premise.
And that still is not a response to the question. Any of them said, wait, did this person just say that a child at 7, 8, 9, 10 doesn't have sexual understanding when her group is constantly saying that 2-year-olds know whether they are trans? Yes, because her argument is that it has nothing to do with sexuality. It has nothing to do with sexuality at all. It's just an identity. It's just an identity. It has nothing to do with your sexuality at all, which of course is bullshit.
For it. It's
That's
not
what
sexual.
you say. Okay, so this entire premise is sexual in nature, right?
It's not.
It
It's
is.
100% not.
It absolutely is because, for example,
How do you know that?
Okay, well, let him fucking explain then, bitch.
okay, how do I know that? You keep appealing to just like
No,
possibilities.
just answer my question.
How do I know?
Oh, now we want to hold people to answering questions. I mean, for real, bro. Like, how? Like with Brianna Wu, you're gonna not answer a question?
How dare you?
Insane.
How do
Oh,
you
that
know it's
because
sex
it's
for everyone?
grown adults that are sexual deviants that are all advocating that children be allowed to be introduced to the concepts of changing their gender and then physically transitioning and then making sure they can explore their sexuality. And it's always from the source of adults that are sexual deviants. And when you actually look into it, when it comes to men playing dress up like women, okay, that group of people, there is a huge percentage of autogynephilia, which is specifically sexual in nature.
And you, Brianna.
And you yourself admitted it. So you even said that a large percentage of them after puberty that would be identifying as that. It is.
In case you missed it before, Brianna Wu saying many trans women go into sex work because a lot of us Not a lot of them. A lot of us have autogynephilia, and being objectified is erotic to us, she says. In case you forgot.
Admitted it. So you even said that a large percentage of them after puberty that would be identifying as that, it is that autogynephilia
My
nature.
question to you is about 5-year-olds. You're talking about adults. So let's talk.
5-year-olds
answer
change
the
their mind
question.
every few days.
That's my question to you is why are you claiming it's about sexuality in children? If
She's the one who's too dumb to understand that that was a direct answer to the question. Why are you making this sexual? I'm not. You brought up homosexuality, which by definition is sexual. But why are you claiming it's about sexuality?
children don't have sexuality yet.
Because you're introducing the concept that their sexual anatomy needs to be different,
I'm
or
not
is it?
introducing anything.
No,
Yes, the fuck you are. How many fucking views does this have? This has 16,000 views. How many followers does she have on Twitter? You're not introducing anything? Bullshit.
that their sexual
And you know what? She thinks that because she's based enough to be like, well, yeah, 90% of transitions shouldn't happen, that she automatically wins. I don't know why, but that seems to be the perspective.
anatomy needs to be different,
I'm
or
not
is it?
introducing anything.
No, yes, that's what it is, right? If you're going to consider
See, in that situation, oh my God, how did you not be like, you are on stage pushing this right as we speak?
that I'm a boy but I should be a girl, the very next step is to address your anatomical discrepancies, right? That is the very next
No.
thing. Oh, really? So
No. All I want.
Thank you. One want to vote? 389,000 people. But she's not pushing anything. What do you mean? She's not pushing anything.
When I was a very young child was to play with Barbies and hang out with girls and watch Gem and the Hologram.
So how do you know that you weren't going to be gay?
just like my little sister liked to watch the Colts and memorize the wide receivers, and then she is married
Sure.
now because she grew out of the
This
fact
is
that
my
she
point. Let those
Okay.
kids be kids. Don't sexualize them. Don't medicalize them. Like, don't get this bullshit out of
You're
school.
here
That's our position,
saying that at a certain age, so 13 or around
which is still a child.
puberty, so some maybe 10, 11, that they should then be transitioned. That's what you're here
I'm
advocating for.
saying that there should be a window open, and we're getting back. You still have not.
Right. Doing it and having a window. That's what we're talking about. We are against the window. You are for the window. That's the conversation. Welcome to the conversation. No window. It's not that complicated.
I answered my question. Why do you think this is about sex? Do you not understand?
Because you brought up sexuality.
Just answer that.
Do you not understand this is about identity?
I just answered it.
It is so painful.
It's a bunch of adults
It
that
is-
are sexual deviants trying to
That's your
push the.
argument. All trans people are sexual deviants.
That's not what he said.
I mean,
Yeah,
Okay.
They are.
Now he said it, but that was what he said before.
but it's not even just that. I just addressed it specifically. It's autogynephilia. What's disgusting is autogynephilia being introduced to children. That's what's disgusting.
that's not true.
It's child abuse.
That's not true.
Look, it's pretty simple.
It's not true that introducing AGP to children is abuse. That's your position, bro?
Man, it's very simple. Okay. Whenever you introduce this idea to a child, they should just be learning basic things, playing with their friends. They shouldn't be having these like very heavy thoughts of, should I actually be a boy? What does that mean? What's a boy? What's a girl? So they're gonna be like, what's the difference in a boy and what's the difference in a girl? And all you can point to is playing with Barbies. Well, believe it or not, there's more differences in boys and girls than Barbies. And so now the
Yep.
children are gonna have to figure out what are those
I
differences.
understand.
Yeah, I agree with you, Indie Film, that 18 is not a good window, but it is the legal one. I think after 25, when brains are more developed, is a better window. I am so fine with raising the age of any of that stuff. Tattoos, drinking, driving, voting, all of that shit at 25. All of that shit at 25. Or at the very least, between 18 and 25, you have to prove, at least for things like voting, you have to take the citizenship test type thing that Vivek was talking about. These kids are too young. And I've said it a million times before, and I'm going to say it again. If we look at an 18-year-old in the 1930s versus an 18-year-old today, they are different things. An 18-year-old in 1930 probably already has a career, potentially a family. 18 today, you're on Fortnite.
And that you're very low on empathy. But for the people out there that aren't, I want to tell you
Appeal to
what
emotion.
it's like. You are trying desperately to fit into the world, and every time you try to express yourself, you get all these signals from the world that you don't fit in, and your every instinct you have is wrong from the things you want to play with.
That's called puberty. Like, do you think that I didn't experience those things being a short boy? Like, I mean, I was already short. I had a growth spurt at some point, and this is where it stopped. And girls obviously start puberty earlier than boys. I wouldn't say it was a late bloomer per se, but it definitely wasn't the first one to have my balls drop. I don't think. Definitely wasn't the first one with a beard. And so those are the types of things that you're referring to when you're actually talking about this. But because you're not naming them like that, and you're making this emotional anecdotal appeal, it will convince some people that, oh yeah, she did have a hard time, so other people should do this, that, and that. Instead of taking an actual scientific perspective, an actual academic perspective, you are once again working backwards from your conclusion. Dietrich said, it's 1 degree outside. We have 30 plus windows in my house. If someone tried to open one and say, yeah, but I don't think we should open any of your other windows, just this one, I still think they are retarded. Well, I mean, even let's not even, we don't even have to go there. You can just say, they are still making the house colder. They are still making, it doesn't matter if you have 30 windows. If only one of them is open, it's not going to be as cold as if you open all of them. It's not going to be as cold as if you open half of them. And if you open half of them, that's going to be more cold than opening the one, but it's not going to be as cold as opening the 30. But the point is, even one window being open is a way into the bad thing. So this is why his question about is that bad when kids change their mind is crucial and fundamental to what we are talking about. Because the question is about once the window has been opened, once there is a window that is open, then we are down a road that we don't want to be in. We are in a house that's too cold. Well said, Dietrich. Well said.
That you don't fit in, and your every instinct you have is wrong. From the things you want to play with, from the vocal inflections that you use, to the friends you want to make, to the things you're interested in. When I was a child, I would literally hold my hands behind my...
Nobody cares! What does this have to do with transing other children in society? You don't seem like a very happy, well-adjusted person. So if you're just talking about, well, look at me! Not the argument you think it is, sweetie.
My back from the ages of like 7 to 11, because when I talk, I'd be very expressive with my hands, and they would call me a faggot. So it's like, what you're not understanding is it's so much deeper than this like conservative, crazy stereotype you're coming to. You literally can't function, and it breaks you in a
projection. There's two people on this stage. One of them functioned without surgery. One of them is claiming that they can't function without the surgery that they had. But okay, yeah, sure.
Crazy stereotype you're coming to. You literally can't function, and it breaks you in a fundamental way. It may be funny to you.
The irony of talking about
it's
functioning.
Not easy to go through.
You're dysfunctional.
And again, puberty is never easy to go through. That doesn't mean the answer is to try to either stop puberty or get around puberty or pretend puberty doesn't exist or pretend it's a bad thing or any of those things. It's about parenting and being there for your kid, being accepting of who they are as they become the person that you and they want to become. You're like, oh no, kids are mean to each other. Let's chop them up.
What?
Any of them said, expressive with their hands, sound like they were Italian. Probably we should go out and get in transition for being Italian. Oh my God. Is that cheaper than the sex change or like, I think that's more of a self-ID thing, right? Or maybe you just go to Italy on vacation and fuck a local.
Oh, by definition, what are you talking about? I can't function. Like, no, I'm saying leave the children alone. If you think that they should, one day they feel like they're the wrong gender and they should change, or the wrong sex, right? Then let them
change sex.
Let them be adults.
No shit.
adults. Yeah, that's correct, and that's all there is.
You just said
Let-
the opposite, but
I corrected to say that it's sex because gender is a social construct. So it is though. So what I'm saying is, why not just wait till they're adults? You're saying that for almost all of them, you should wait.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, if there's a female that wants to be a man, just they're okay. There's
but
no
you
evidence
should
to
let
push.
them socially
But
transition.
specifically,
No, we should not. That's the argument that we've been making. And you just didn't listen to any of that. And you're still starting with the same position that you had 49 minutes ago in the discussion. Shout out to Dylan Sue. Welcome to the party, brother. Very good to see ya. This tranny is not doing well against a flat earther.
a female that wants to be a man, they're okay. There's
But
no
you
evidence
should
to
let
push.
them socially
But
transition.
specifically with what you identify as, and based on your personal experience, that
Well, yeah, and again, we have to define what is social transition. But
when you were a kid, you were more prone to girly things, then we should let little boys transition into little girls for irreversible ways. Irreversible ways. Chemicals that completely change their development forever. And
Mhm.
I've asked you, talk about bad faith. I've asked you the elephant in the room 30 times. What about when they change their mind? Do you not agree that that would be terrible and detrimental and effectively abused? If a child, answer this question directly, if a child is being introduced to these ideas, even coaxed into the idea, because they're just kind of confused when they're younger, then they end up being given these chemicals and this medicine and treatment from adults, and then they change their mind a few years later. Is that abuse?
That would be a very bad outcome.
Would that
Finally, she answered a question. And if you agreed the whole time, why did we need to spend all of that acting like you were trying to dodge a position? Like that was just a point of contention to make sure, oh, we agree this is bad, right? So then we could talk about what we're talking about. But you made the conversation about the thing that we already agree about. Why? Make that make sense. Dietrich said not to be the black pill dealer, but it's pretty obvious that the same level of encouragement to express your emotions drastically to feel justified is the same reason school pewings are at an all-time high. It's almost like there's something else going on. It's almost like chopping your dick or tits off isn't the solution to mental health issues. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I mean, I do have. Does that count? I went to college. I have a degree, so you have to listen to me. Dylan said, I'm starting to like Brianna. Well, let's not forget that she was one of the 3 people at the core of the original Gamergate back in 2014. I am not beginning to like her, but to each their own.
change their mind a few years later? Is that abuse?
That would be a very bad outcome.
Would that be
So let's prevent that. Conversation over.
abuse? Would that be child abuse?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would
So
depend.
Yes,
So your own argument, what you're advocating for,
is child abuse.
if you yield even 1% of people changing their mind, you're saying you're advocating for child abuse.
This is the problem with all or nothing thinking out there, because his way of thinking tells every single one of those kids, like, let's say it's the formula here that we throw 99 trans girls into being meat from the machine for one child. Like, there's an unconscious.
Oh, she's down to 10%. Oh my goodness. We started at 10%, or I think it was 13%. Then it went, and so if you're not, if you weren't here at the beginning, this is just like the online tracker of, people's opinions. Shout out to Manifold. So yeah, it started out at like 13, I think, then went up to 24, and now it's down at 10% again. I think people are waking up. Funkmaster said, not just from adults, but from their parents, the adults that they trust the most. And if not their parents, their teachers, who they maybe don't trust as much as their parents, but they spend a lot more time with them. Dylan said, starting as in like congratulating on her at least attempt at coming to terms with how our side operates. Even still, I don't want to go there. But hey, yeah, you can have that opinion. I'm just respectfully disagree.
Into being meat from the machine for one child.
And what does that mean? What does that mean? So you're gonna put 99 trans girls, so 99 boys being meat for the machine. What machine are we talking about? Just living the way you were born and not doing things that you don't want to do because you're the wrong gender? That's being meat for the machine. And then we've already established, because you're talking about trans girls, so we've already established that most boys will grow out of it and become gay. So it's not 99 trans girls. By your own admission, it's not. Dylan said people are waking up, but for some, they are still doozy zombies coming off the morphine and Proprol. Yep. So, yeah, if anybody has an idea of what she specifically means by meat for the machine, like, genuinely, I'm trying to understand what she is saying. Like, I get the notion that if they want to be trans and they can't be trans, then that would not be good in their perspective. I understand that much. But what machine are you talking about?
9 trans girls into being meat for the machine for one child. Like, there's an unconscious like math that's going on here.
But you're acting as if not transing a kid is killing them. With that equation, then yes, you're right. That we shouldn't let 99 kids die just to save one. I mean, depending on the circumstance. But in this situation, if it was that. But that's a false dichotomy. That's not the option. It's either you let the 99 or you let all 100 of them just live as they want to live and don't force them to be in a box. If you're a feminine male, then go be a feminine male. Why do you have to change the fact that you're a woman or a binary or whatever? If you're a chick who likes sports and trucks, and just do that. I don't understand why it needs to go any further than that. Just do the things you like to do as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say all will grow out of it and become straight or a much smaller amount of gay. Well, that was pretty much what oh, I did miss it, right? Thank you, sir. But yeah, I mean, that's what Peter Boghossian was saying. If you guys remember when he was on the channel, if you didn't see that, definitely go check it out. It was a good show. Teacher said, patronizing children teaches them that there's no need to emotionally develop. I'm not saying praising your kids for simplistic achievements is wrong, but defeating the challenge of life is damning. Bingo. Well said, sir. Well said. And let's make sure we update that banner. Shout out our boy.
For one child, like, there's an unconscious like math that's going on here. That trans people's life doesn't matter.
What? Yeah, your life doesn't matter unless you can mutilate yourself. That's your position. I am of the position that whether you mutilate yourself or not, your life matters. I don't know how you've projected that onto us, but projection. You have made them feel that their life doesn't matter unless they are trans. That is not what we did. That's your fault.
If it inconveniences someone who's not trans. And what I'm talking about here are very, very, very high safeguards. If you understood more of the science, we could talk through what those safeguards are. They're actually extremely high.
But there is no science. There's no science and there's no studies, but we can appeal to the statistics. And if you understand the science that doesn't exist, then we could actually there's safeguards that don't exist in the studies that don't exist.
What? More of the science, we could talk through what the safeguards are. They're actually extremely high. We actually know a lot about them.
Then why are there so many fucking trans kids?
You want to lead to this all or nothing thinking that
Nope. Again, that's you.
There's just not medical evidence for it, and there's a human cost to what you're advocating.
No, there's a human cost to what you're advocating. Projection. If you understood more of the science, these 2 to 3 different studies to have very small sample sizes put on by people who already agree with me, done by people who already agree with me, then you would understand. Yeah, it's you gotta it's the urine. You gotta hold it up to the light to actually see it. And that's what Witsit doesn't understand, okay? It's written in P. If you don't hold it up to a light, then how would you know the science?
No, so what your rebuttal right there was that, yeah, sure, that to the exceptions where it would be child abuse, it's worth it. That it's like the cost benefit analysis is that it's worth it
All
based on the
medicine
numbers.
is a
That
cost
your
benefit
Yep.
argument was that,
analysis.
yes, we should advocate for child abuse because the numbers will be low.
Yep. Straight up. That's how you build an argument, because that's why he was trying so hard to establish, do you think this is bad? Once you've said, yes, this is bad, and then she didn't even deny, of course she didn't want to say, yes, it's child abuse, but she, sure. So yes, it's bad. Yes, it's child abuse, but we should still do it because of it might work out okay for some kids. Dietrich said, choosing someone else's death is homicide. People choosing to alt for their life because they don't get what they want is their choice. Still not ideal for, we don't want to super normalize that in society, but it's very different than homicide.
And in fact, we don't even actually know the numbers. You're actually appealing to an absence of numbers. But this is the point. You've like trapped yourself at this point. You're saying that in the scenario that they're taught these ideas, introduced to them, and then given treatment to transition, but change their mind, that would be child
I
abuse.
don't know how we can have a discussion with
Can I
someone
please
who
finish? I'm almost
literally
done.
does not care.
You said that it was
about those
listen.
children.
You said no. I do care about the children. The solution, you admitted it would be child abuse. You said, but
Yeah, you're the one who was saying it's child abuse and it's bad, but let's do it.
we shouldn't just sacrifice the 99 for the one. The one is now going to be suicidal, has irreversible damage they can never get back. The 99 had to wait a little bit longer till they were adults to make their own decision. What even is the benefit of doing it when they're so young? That is worth child abuse.
Great argument. Great way to articulate exactly what's happening. That again, talking about, meeting for the machine. What you're saying is we should trans all 100 kids, and one of them will self-delete, but no big deal, because again, the false axiom that if we don't trans all 100 kids, then all 100 kids will die. But it's bad and it's abuse. Speechless. So we'll go to Dylan Soup. Said so many trans kids that totally aren't just kids who lean LGB, are autistic, misdiagnosed, or just want to fit in. I mean, speculation. I don't fucking know these kids. I would venture a guess that at least 75% of them don't actually believe that they have gender dysphoria. They're just speculating. I don't know. But it's we've strong reason to believe that. Shout out to Funk Master General. See, Morty knows your name. Said, let the Overlord know this is my third super chat. All right. Okay. So, Mort, what I want you to know is that Funk Master, you see right over there? That's for you. And it's the third one. It's the third one on a third super chat on a stream ever. Isn't that amazing? Boy, I love that dog. Thank you so very much out sponsoring yourself. Thank you so very, very much. Look how fucking cute he is. Let's give him one more. One more. Why not? Why not? Thank you, sir. Dietrich said, not saying they should ever, not saying they should ever. I love all life, but 1% is a good start in Bill Gates' eyes. If you know, you know. There you go. Dylan said, trans trending is just the new horoscopes or silly bands. Yup. Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right. Well, Buckmaster said party rages on.
Adults to make their own decision. What even is the benefit of doing it when they're so young? That is worth.
Well, unless you're the doctor and you get the money, or you're a fucking loser who now has friends.
Child abuse.
The damage is, it's not child abuse. That's complete bullshit.
You agreed that it was. He had to ask you 10 times, but eventually you said yes or sure.
Damage is you're missing on socialization, which is very, very difficult. And testosterone is so powerful, it will permanently destroy your body and make it much harder to integrate. I want
Which is why we shouldn't do it.
to ask you a question. So let's say tomorrow your child, you said they were 2 years old, are they a boy or a girl? They're girls. Okay.
Well, are you assuming?
Let's say you had a boy tomorrow. What would you do for a child? You have that child, your heart.
Raise them as a boy, regardless of anything. That's what I would do.
Horrified, they're 3 years old. They start asking you, Dad, why do I have a penis?
Because you're a boy, and boys have penises, and girls have vaginas.
They show a complete.
Like,
I
that's
know
what
it's
God
not
made-
actually
That's
funny.
how God made you.
It's actually not that funny. So as they get older, you find they're unable to socialize. They're withdrawn from you.
Then you address those things. You address those things. Why is being unable to socialize and withdrawn from parents? Why is the next step trans them?
They're hiding. They're afraid. They are unable to make friends. You see them failing at school. And
Sounds
they're
like a-
scared of you because you think all trans children, all trans adults are deep.
No, they don't fucking know that because they're a child. You fucking moron. It doesn't matter that he does actually think all trans people are deviants. It doesn't matter for what the situation that you're bringing up, because his whole argument is we keep that away from the children so that they don't. No. Shout out to the offspring. The kids are not all right.
Deviants in your own words.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do for your child in that situation?
So the question she meant to ask is, what if one of your daughters decided to tell you that they were a boy? Not if you had a boy tomorrow, because that's not how it works.
Well, you're supposed to be able to raise your child in a way that they feel comfortable talking to you, and you protect them from demonic sexual deviants that are propagandizing them to where they're sexually confused at young ages. That's what you do. So this is the truth.
And I mean, go in the opposite direction. I was indoctrinated into the church. Didn't help.
Too, that doesn't ever want to be talked about. A lot of this stems from trauma. When you actually look into it, so it's like over 1/3 of those who claim to be transgender sought out mental treatment for mental illnesses, and then there's a huge overlap with trauma.
It's a comorbidity.
So maybe
yeah.
don't traumatize your child. Maybe don't neglect them. Maybe don't feed them to the machine where they're propagandized. Maybe don't sexualize your children at all. Don't even have these. 3-year-olds don't walk up saying, "I wish I didn't have a penis." That isn't reality. That doesn't actually happen. And if it does happen, that parent should be put in jail. The parent freaking taught them that. It is
Wait, hold up. I had a video here. Oh, it's on my watch list. Okay, sorry.
child abuse. And I just want that parent should be put in jail. The parent freaking taught them that it is child abuse. And I just want to drive this home one more time. You did agree that in the scenario that they were cooked into it, given treatment, and changed their mind, it was child abuse. And you're saying that it's a worthy cause because of what?
That's
and your answer was socialization. For the benefit of it being socially easier for that child, it's worth the risk.
It's not
of
just
abusing
that.
other
It's the
children.
socialization, it is the integration, it is missing the comorbidities you were just talking about.
There you go. Sitting at the dinner table, my daughter says, "I think I'm actually a boy." I say, "No, you're not. Pass the potatoes." And so what's hold on, I'll do it this way. Give me 1 second. Yeah. No, we'll do that. And then I'll do that. Do that. And copy image link. So you bring up the Skimmity Riz. Look what I've got for you guys. When this will be for a Friday. So that's why I was doing the the polls about, do you are you familiar with a Skibbity toilet or what? And you guys were actually a lot more not into it, but a lot more familiar than I thought. So actually, since we got some time, let's do a little side quest.
Should you let your kid watch Skibbity Toilet is a question I was asked when I lectured on the series at Princeton University. And it's
University.
a very important question. I'd say the answer is yes, but it's not an uncomplicated yes. class. Skibidi Toilet, of course, has aesthetic and cultural value. It's so popular, it's so widely watched. Everyone in your Gen Alpha Kids generational cohort probably has watched it. It's maybe a little bit like what SpongeBob was for Gen Z. And undoubtedly, even if you're not like a fan of YouTube or, machinima type of content, Skibidi Toilet is a great example of that. And it does a lot of interesting things with this tradition that's 20, 30 years old. Now,
So this guy is the one who has that a long thing where he breaks down all the seasons. Now, I've never actually watched the videos, and I don't think you guys would either. But there's a lot of I've watched his that whole video that I showed you before, and you can see this guy is not fucking around. He's not fucking around. There's stuff in there. So this is just a little sneak peek. I don't know exactly when, but definitely for a Friday show.
Now, the main thing that turns people off is that it's about toilets and this sort of filthy character that comes up and attacks you. And then the series is extremely violent as well. There are honestly troubling parts of it, which if it were happening to humans rather than to machines, it's very likely it would be demonetized or maybe like not as heavily promoted. You have scenes of the camera-headed infantry soldiers, which you're watching the series through as a POV spectator.
Okay, can you articulate why? Didn't think so.
They torture the toilets, they punch them, they, do devious things to them. And the toilets also attack and brutally, rip apart the camera-headed soldiers. But our world is a violent one. And Skibidi Toilet meditates on these themes, and it can actually open up conversations that are really valuable for young people to have. The show presents a war where there's no clear good guy, where even though we're seeing it through the lens of one of these camera-headed soldiers, so it seems like the Skibidi Toilets are the enemies, kind of the way it's presented makes you also maybe feel empathy towards the Skibidi Toilets and wonder, like, violence, what does it do? Who does it hurt? What does it accomplish? I might not go so far as to say it is an anti-war piece of media, but we see that violence doesn't really accomplish anything. Neither side really advances its objectives. And we see, if anything, the pain of war, like the sense of loss, which the blue camerahead Titan definitely seems to feel when the red speakerhead Titan is converted by the electric blue Skibidi virus to become like a zombie fighter. And the other thing Skibidi Toilet offers is a meditation on technology and how that technology is used in war, but also just in our everyday lives and our identity formation. It is a show about cyborgs. You have the Skibidi Toilet.
Neither did I.
Toilets who are a human head inside of a toilet body.
Actually, well, that's an important part.
It is a show about cyborgs. You have the Skibidi Toilets who are a human head inside of a toilet body, fighting the media people who are often like a camera or TV head on top of a human body. We also have, in addition to those cyborgs, the cyborg of your own vision, which is grafted to a camera's vision. You see as a camera for the entire show. And for a lot of young people, we're used to seeing as cameras because of social media, because of phones and how omnipresent they are, because of how these media forms get into our brains. So Skibidi Toilet presents this technology that is everywhere, that children grow up with, knowing as familiarly as they know their own bodies or the bodies of the people that care for them. These machines are often the mediating force through which that care gets expressed, but they're also a place of danger for kids as well. Everything's being watched and recorded, and as you're growing into whoever you're going to be, you have to contend with this version of you that has been surveilled and recorded and performed for other people. And to me, Skibidi Toilet, in maybe a primitive kind of way, at least sort of sets out some of how this feels and looks visually, and also some of the horror that comes about through it. Often when people discuss works of art, and especially digital media, they use metaphors like of virality, where it's something you're exposed to that's, going to be a malign influence, or it's going to just be one thing that's totally outside of you. When I think maybe a healthier way to look at pieces of art is to see them as tools that can help you live your own life better, see the world more deeply, more empathetically, more accurately, or tools that can be used to, enlist you into certain causes or projects or make money for the people that are wielding them. And so thinking of Skibidi Toilet as a tool, I believe it is an important and worthy tool for young people to have in their toolbox. And I can attest to that because it's been a really useful tool for me to add to my toolbox and trying to understand the world. I've got a YouTube video essay on Skibidi Toilet coming out this week. It's been a long time coming and in the works. It's about 40 minutes long, and it's a lot of the same material I used in my Princeton lecture on Skibidi Toilet, but presented with visuals, and I hope with a sense of how we can read this work of art in a humanist lens and make it a good tool to have in our box as we face the uncertainty and the troubles ahead.
So there we go. And any fellow said, I'm just going to say, no, children should not be watching this. He just said there's some traumatic, disturbing scenes and they're violent. So what most kids are just playing violent video games where it's actual people dying. And these are toilets and speakers and cameras. Said even if it wasn't non-human objects. Oh, even if it wasn't non-human objects, it would. Well, if it was, well, right, yeah, like that's pretty disturbing. Children don't need to be watching that shit. But that's precisely the point. Is that it's as he said, it's an introduction to this world without having to see the level of gore that exists in the real world. And then we get to the boomer answer. So none of this is anything that you mean. You just decided that you don't know what it is and you don't like not knowing and you don't like who it is. So, okay, boomer. Okay, boomer. I don't know what it is, so I automatically don't like it.
it is the integration, it is missing the comorbidities you were just talking about. If you have a trans child, spin a roulette wheel because something else is going to go wrong with them. They're going to have a major depressive episode. They're going to be suicidal. They're going to have social anxiety disorder through the roof. Like the comorbidities that happen to these kids when you don't affirm them are truly terrifying. You can damage those children for life. I think any
Okay, but any film, again, the point is that they are going to do that. So what they should or should not do, and what is right and wrong, is not as not a driver in what we should be exposed to. If they are going to be playing violent video games, and if they are going to be growing up in a violent world, especially a violent world where they can see it on their phones 2 inches from their face, then having a way to discuss that and have a way to open their minds in a way that starts small and introduces this stuff is precisely what we want, specifically so that we don't fall on the opposite side of the spectrum and throw them into the deep end of adult types of things without being primed and ready for it. So if this is your thinking, then you should be like, thank God that Skibbity Toilet exists so that I don't have to have these super deep and heavy conversations with my kid as, you know, they're worried about school pew-pewings at however old. So, I mean, okay. Anyway.
Disorder through the roof. Like the
Let's go back to what she was
something else. If you have, it is the integration, it is missing not just
Abusing
that. It's
other
the
children.
socialization, it is the integration, it is missing the comorbidities.
Well, these are all the reasons that we need to sacrifice all of these children in case one of it works for one of them.
Just talking about. If you have a trans child, spin a roulette wheel because something else is going to go wrong with them. They're going to have a major depressive episode.
It's almost like their gender is not relevant to their issues.
They're going to be suicidal.
It's almost like that's its own issue.
They're going to have social anxiety disorder through the roof. Like the comorbid.
Those are all things that exist in the DSM-5, the DSM-5, that can be addressed by neutral, politically neutral therapists. You have not yet presented a case where the transing has anything to do with anything. Yeah, right. Exactly, Funkmaster. Kids have bigger things to worry about, like how trans they are. I mean, seriously, how old do you think you were the first time you heard about like a police brutality thing? How old do you think the average kid today is when they're exposed to that? Much younger. Much younger. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong, but it seems to me like you're not relating to what this trans woman is saying to the Skibbity Toilet thing. I think you're not relating. No, I am relating. I'm specifically relating. There's, exactly as, what is his name? Aiden said in the video, we live in a violent world. I don't know about you, but I think chopping off children's genitals is at least violent adjacent. And so to be able to understand like that's a bad thing, you first have the precursor of, oh, okay, this is not normal. This is something outside of what should be happening. So, I mean, I haven't watched the thing yet. I don't know for sure what it is or what it says and what his analysis is. I've watched some of the TikTok videos, but I'm not just going to make a conclusion based on my vibes and my feels. And, oh, I don't like his hair, and I don't know what it is, and I don't want to learn, so no.
To have social anxiety disorder through the roof, like the comorbidities that happen to these kids when you don't affirm them are truly terrifying. You can damage those children for life. I think anyone.
You mean like chopping off their dick?
Now here can look at trans Twitter and see just how mentally unhealthy it is. Most of those kids grew up without any kind of support.
So when then we're talking about children growing up without support and not being in the wrong body, right?
Your answer, if you have that child, is essentially don't affirm them. And you have some magical ideas about how to be able to avoid this.
Magical?
My parents did
Healthy
this to
parenting
me.
is magical?
My parents tried this to me. I still grew up to be trans.
Okay, just to clarify, right?
So they should have transitioned you earlier? Like, what? Film said, okay, so what I'm saying is that kids being exposed to trans ideology is not a good thing even though perhaps they are. Also, being kids being exposed to a violent toilet meme cartoon is also not good. But that's what I'm saying. You don't know that. You're just deciding based on a 3-minute video of some dude who gave you one still picture. Like, from what I've seen, I would say Transformers is more violent than Skibidi Toilet. And exactly because it's not people, it's machines. And, like, I don't know. I mean, that's the perception I have. That it seems like you just don't want to because you don't want to. And you're allowed. I mean, you don't have. I'm not gonna hold you. Hold you to. If you don't watch this, then you're a bad. I mean, do whatever. I'm just saying, it's. I don't feel like it matches. But Master General said at least they'll be aggressive enough to defend themselves when the doctor pulls out the hedge clippers. There you go. There you go. Montefiore said, not machines, robots in disguise. I apologize. I stand corrected. Dylan said, this low-key reminds me of when there was talk and pushback over the Hasbin Hotel versus Hell of a Boss. I have no idea what any of those things are. I may be a boomer, but I've seen some Skibidi Toilet videos. Well, that's probably from your kids, no? So that fits. That fits. And I'm actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pull it up. I don't remember. But I was very surprised because I did the poll. And I was like, how familiar are you? And I was like, not at all. I've seen one. I've seen a few, or very familiar, or something like that. And most people have said, I've seen a few. So you guys, being the general Indian Jesus audience, are much more familiar. Not indie film, because he said he did. Well, oh no, so you said you did see a couple. So then, I mean, if that's what that, if you're saying you believe it is too violent, that's a different thing than saying, well, he said it's violent, therefore I don't think the kids should watch it. It's a very, very different thing. If you believe it's too violent, then hey, it's your kids.
Parents tried this to me. I still grew up to be trans.
Okay, just to clarify, right? Social integration, like I can easily counter that. It's actually going to be way more detrimental when you actually coax them into it and you appease them and you just immediately affirm these. They're just asking questions. You're like, oh, well, actually, you're probably something that we call trans. And you start coaxing them into it. When you like expedite integration,
What is trans? Well, let me give you a way to make me seem really cool. Well, I was going to say Twitter, but let's be honest, more like Facebook.
Social integration, when they then change their mind, when they then find out that's not actually how they feel, right? Because it's been so open, the door's been opened up to invite them into this idea at such a young age, you're the one that's going to cause the suicides. And the evidence has shown that after medical treatment or actual transitions, the suicide rate goes up.
This is not true.
Yeah, it is true.
This is what
Absolutely
you
is
don't
true.
understand fundamentally.
You really want to make the argument that the suicide rate of people is higher than the rate of transes. Okay, dude.
Think you can just tell someone to grow up out of gender dysphoria. We really tried this. We really tried to.
Did we though? Did we though?
Be men. We try to push these feelings so deep inside of us. It is like wearing a mask.
Right. When you're pushing it inside of you, that's not going to work. When you actually live it and you be the dude who likes dresses and Barbies and pink and all that stuff, that's when you're okay. And I understand people don't love that, but it's better than repressing it and becoming some fucking sexual deviant.
All the time. No one knows who you are. You're pretending to feel things and like things that you just have no interest in.
Yeah, so don't do that.
You're
Go have interest in things or go feel things and like things that you are interested in. What does this have to do with changing your gender?
more alone than I can begin to describe.
That sounds like loneliness, not being in the wrong body.
And let me just tell you my story. Before I
No, I don't want to. You one, you already did, and number two, I don't care. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. It's well, it's just one kid. That doesn't happen. But you want your one kid to matter. That's the whole heart of your argument, is that I'm one kid and this happened to me. Therefore, but when he makes the exact opposite argument, you're like, well, that doesn't really happen. Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
And I'm pretty sure there are studies out that show if you just let children grow up without weird interventions, they grow out of any ideology. Also, this dude kind of reminds me of my second wife. I think it's the facial shape and hair and glasses, and it's starting to bother me. I feel well. Cheers to your ex-wife, I guess.
Transitioned. I was literally a drug addicted, shut in mess.
Oh, so we should definitely use you as a role model on how to live life.
Recently smart person, I could not function.
Did she say recently? I know that's what this said. But I was recently smart person, but now I'm a progressive retard.
Shut in mess. Recently smart person,
Reasonably.
I could not function. I could not hold a job.
What does that have to do with your gender?
I went to a therapist for 3 months. They diagnosed me with gender dysphoria. I took that to a doctor. I got a note. I got an estrogen instantly.
You say that like it's a good thing. Your whole argument here was that we do things slow. Instantly. That's bad. There should be something before the instant that you go there, before you get drugs that will change you irrevocably.
I took that to a doctor. I got a note. I got an estrogen instantly. Life 100% came into focus.
Have you heard of a thing called placebo? Or maybe, I don't know how old this fucking dude is. Maybe, this was before it was super pop. But actually, no, let's find out for sure. Brianna Wu age. Jesus Christ. What? Jesus fuck. I mean, makeup is a hell of a drug. Look, this is the same fucking person. Right? I mean, Jesus. All right. Well, I mean, I guess, growing up in the 80s, then it probably wasn't there. But even still, maybe you are the 0.0001% where this is actually appropriate for you. That doesn't mean anything in the grander discussion of should children in general be doing this. Sorry.
Instantly. Life 100% came into focus. I've not used a drug in 20 years because I don't feel a need to do it anymore. I felt like I could function. I will guarantee you I pay more in taxes a year than you do. I've done very, very well for myself.
She's down to 9 single digits.
A good career. This was healthcare for me.
What am I talking about right now?
I'm saying that this is medical treatment that made my life exponentially better. And you just think you can talk someone out of it. It's not true.
Nobody said that. You're minimizing. You're acting like therapy when it helps your cause. Then it's this intensive, super serious work. But on the other side, it's just talking them out of it. That's bad faith. That is bad faith. Makeup, surgery, dieting, and good lighting can help. And you know what? The lights right above the speakers were off. And I told, I think his name is George, the guy who's the moderator. I was the one who was like, hey, I think those lights should be on. And so you're welcome, Brianna.
No, you think that you can roll the dice with the future of children as adults, then introduce sexual deviancy to them, and I disagree with you.
Sexual deviancy.
It is, because we all know that at the core of it, it is sexually driven. It's about
She's projecting her own experience onto every other child as if it will be the exact same. Projection. I did not want to drink tonight. I brought my shake down here because I didn't even finish a shake today. I'm like, I'll just be doing that, and then we'll chill and whatever. But here we are.
all right. It doesn't look. I get I can even say I can empathize with your position personally. Okay, that you maybe were confused or whatever.
Sure.
You should wait till you're an adult to act on those things. Okay.
I did. It
Okay.
nearly killed
Okay.
me.
There should be it nearly killed you.
It did.
Okay. See, this is this is what the actual evidence shows, is that after some of these people, certainly when they're younger and they undergo these treatments that are irreversible, they find out my voice is never going to go back. God forbid they do surgery, right? Because then they realize that that's horrific. Okay, even just trying to get through the actual healing process, and they want to go back, but they can't go back, and the suicide rate goes up. The suicide rate goes up. So this idea was the reason, the alleged rebuttal was the reason that suicide's so high within transgenderism is actually because they're not accepted. It's a lack of social integration. What we found out is that
Except that all aspects of the establishment have put them on high, gave them their own flag, waving the flag at the White House, and gave them an entire month. Yeah, they're not integrated into society.
it's actually because they're not accepted. It's a lack of social integration. What we found out is that's not the case at all. Even whenever
not
they're
true.
constantly being affirmed and it's thrown all over the place, there's still a very high rate of suicide.
It's a very difficult path. This is why.
This is like I got the COVID jab and I still got COVID. I mean, it's just very difficult. You just got to keep putting more jabs. You just gonna get more and more and more, trans more of these kids. How are we still having this conversation?
I would recommend to anyone, if you can find another way to deal with gender dysphoria, don't transition. It worked as well for me as it can work for anyone.
So we agree. Your experience has nothing to do with the experience of what you're talking about.
It's a rough path because you have to sit on panels like this and have this discussion.
No, you don't. You chose to be there. You chose to be there. Everything is a victim mentality. Every little thing. I have to do these things. I have to discuss my opinions that I chose to discuss. I signed up to talk about it something, and this one happens when you're a trans woman. Get the fuck out of my face. And Phil said, how much more affirmation can you have than a dude flashing his implants at the White House on Easter? It's never enough because it's not about affirmation. It's about power. It's about taking more power.
And justifying your own existence to people.
Nope. See, that's another bullshit. That one needs to die. The trans lives, or like by saying that you're not trans, saying that you do not exist. Nobody is saying that there's only one person on the stage. We're just saying both of them are male. That's not justifying your existence. You exist as you were born, a male.
I have no compassion for you. I
we
want to
just leave
talk.
the children
I
out of
want
it.
to talk about.
This comes from compassion
I
for
want
children.
to talk about what some.
This is like this same thing with abortion. Like, you have no compassion as I go and murder a child.
The comorbidities happen if you don't treat this. You can look on my wrist right here. You can see the deepest scars. When I was
Nobody cares. I've got them too, but I don't use that to fucking make it seem like my political ideology needs to be pushed. Nobody fucking cares. So we're coming up on 3.5 hours. I'm just going to move to the Q&A because I think not only did Alex Stein come up, but it was rather interesting.
Hi. Two questions.
Boom. Perfect time in there.
So just to make sure, first question, just to make sure I have it right. Of the minority of children that you would say meet the symptomology
yes,
and should get treatment for transition,
have the option
have
with
the
the
option
doctor.
and
Yes,
therefore in some rare cases get treatment.
very
for,
rare cases.
right?
Yes.
I think you also said that the data, there's no study to show.
Yes.
So like many other
Make it make sense. The math ain't mathin'.
treatments, pharmacology, pharmaceuticals, etc. Should we wait till such data exists before considering actually applying this and whether this is a good treatment, or should we just kind of like, as your opponent said, roll the dice,
Yeah.
apply the treatment and just see where things go?
I think this is one of the reasons I was so against the Trump executive orders. This is a really good point that the Trump executive orders make NIH data, NIH grants to get that kind of data impossible now. So even if we were interested in those kinds of answers, we can't do that right now. The study.
I don't know much about what she's talking about, but I'm going to assume that she's very wrong. What's the chat saying?
If we were interested in those, it's a really good point that the Trump executive orders make NIH data, NIH grants to get that kind of data impossible now.
All right, let's see.
So even if we were interested in those kinds of answers, we can't do that right now. The studies here are so universally underfunded. So if we were in good faith sitting down and saying, we're going to allocate a few $100 million to this and really
Oh, it bleeds. I like the roll the gender dice. W Trump. Witsit one hands down.
study it and really understand it. and
W
develop
Trump, a
critical thought.
Trump. The fact that he doesn't have an explanation to why only 10% should be treated shows the arbitrary, the science is around this agenda. And someone's like, exactly. Or no, that was the one.
Oh, I would 100%.
Yeah, it's Trump's fault now. We got a super chat on their channel saying for future debates, both sides should have to share studies. Nah, I like it this way better.
Pause there. The problem is this political mission is
This Brianna person is unhinged.
stop all of it and not do any more science on it because I think they're afraid of the answer. So I hope that answers your question.
It doesn't. But all right, let's go to I think Alex is. Oh, actually, this is a cool guy. I like this guy.
Not all.
We've been down that road
Yeah.
a few times here. All
Yeah.
right.
No, you haven't.
Thank you.
It was the same thing we didn't talk about before.
You would asked about Megan Fox, and I was going to ask a similar question, so I
Sure.
won't. But the word will use is Munchausen by proxy syndrome
Right.
for the mothers to get attention.
Transhausen.
The first thing I was going to say is at one point you said that not transitioning children worsens their comorbidities.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be more the case that the comorbidity, the mental disorder, we might be speaking of the physical disorder, is the cause? Bingo. And that
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, how dare Trump not allow us, even if we wanted to get information on what it's like to pluck children's eyes out. This executive order stops that. Good.
again, the idea that not transing them makes it worse, if in fact the comorbidity is the only reason they're trans in the first place. And
Well,
then one
yeah.
quick
Go ahead. Let
Well,
her answer that one.
can we go one at a time so I can answer it? Well, what makes more sense to you? Like, say for me, I had social anxiety disorder. Do you think not 3, I just knew I vaguely wanted to be a girl, and I could have been older. It's all these.
Oh, so now you don't know. First it was 3, and then I don't really know, and then it could have been older.
The age of
Go ahead, let her
onset
answer.
for me, it was very
You don't know
early,
what you
yeah.
thought at 3.
So, but to
She doesn't know what she thought at 3.
answer your question, are you saying you think that depression, suicidality, that leads to gender dysphoria rather than
Uh-huh.
gender dysphoria leading to the other?
Uh-huh.
More to the effect of, yes, you're depressed, and then you're given this opportunity where you're given attention by people.
Yeah.
You're immediately
Mhm.
affirmed. You're an unimportant person. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, you're a very important person.
Right.
Especially at that age where attention, is a very important thing.
Shout out to Joseph. Good dude. Met him out there. Very smart guy.
100%. I think this is why this progressive bullshit about bringing this into schools, get rid of this
I
today.
understand
Yeah.
what you're
See, and again, she's deflecting. Be like, no, but I'm a base trans. I'm a base trans. Any film said if Trump stops us from getting trans information on kids in the United States, why don't we just look to other countries that are changing the kids? Oh, wait, they've all stopped too. Yikes.
trying to do is
Yeah.
sort of a position in the middle where,
Yeah.
again, the last thing I was going to point out is that when you cite the social sciences, I myself wanted to go to graduate school, and all of you can say this is a joke, but I had very good GREs, very good grades, and it was very clear that I wasn't going to be compliant. And it was one of the, for a humanity or for a social science, it matters that you have letters of recommendation,
Sure.
things like that. You can be gatekept.
Yeah.
And the reason someone like myself
Mhm.
isn't a social scientist or a humanities graduate student or PhD, I think, is because I wasn't going to be compliant with the type of activism that something like the social sciences is now owned by
Yeah.
the perspective of many of us.
Right.
So when you
And again, I mean, I only had a couple conversations with him, and we, but that, I mean, I have no reason to believe he's lying.
cite some of these statistics, I'm skeptical of the science behind it because I don't think it's science anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's activism.
I think that's a fair point. I really do. I think very clearly. But I just to for some good faith with this, like you mentioned AGP and HSTS, Blanchard is not progressive, and neither is John Michael Bailey. So neither is Ann Lawrence for that matter. So I don't think it's the case for everyone, but you're very right to be suspicious of the methodology on these studies. Look into them.
Okay, then why
'Cause
are we
it's generally done by grad students? It's generally surveys posted to students.
students who are already in the academic landscape that we're talking about? So it's just reinforcing what you already believe. 117. Let's go to Alex Stein, 99.
Question. Great debate. My question is for the transgender. So you're on.
Hold
record-
on. I'm not, if you're going to refer to me that way, I'm not interested in Thank you. No, that's so disrespectful.
No,
Okay.
I'm
Let me
not-
just ask you.
I'm not. No,
It's 'cause you're-
good. Thank you.
And shout out to Rachel Wilson, who comes up and asks this. Or no, it wasn't Rachel. That was a different one, but his girlfriend.
Thank
comes up.
you. Thank you.
I think his question is like, I think the question was like about tricking people into thinking that you're a girl and not letting them know. Do you think that's okay?
Witsit? She didn't want to answer that, so we'll go to
Well,
the next question. We'll go.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. And then let's get to her. Where is she? Oh, actually, let's go from the actually get some information from our boy Craig here.
What to say? I pointed out autogynephilia is literally in Prince, or it's literally just about sexual deviancy. That's all it is. It's literally about sexual arousal.
The literal researchers would disagree with you.
That's
The literal researchers, okay? The people who tell us everything that is true and everything that is not would disagree with you, and they would agree with me. Therefore, I'm right, okay? And shout out again to Craig. This is FTFE. Apparently he has a science channel where he talks to flat earthers. I don't know if he's talked to Witsit before, but and again, atheist did not do great against Andrew Wilson, but very cool dude. Very
the
cool.
definition of it: being sexually aroused at the idea of being perceived to be a woman.
Hi, Brianna. Thank you. Wonderful debate, and congratulations on joining the long list of people to beat Witsit in a debate. Studies have shown that a higher percentage of neurodivergent are trans than non-neurodivergent, and it also shows that a higher percentage of neurodivergent regret transitioning afterwards. Why do you think so many neurodivergent regret the choice afterwards? And does this mean that there should be different rules for neurodivergence when going through transitioning?
Thank you for healthcare-based question that I can respond to with science. This is beautiful. This is what this debate should have been.
Co-parter.
So the answer is the number of people with autism in the community have skyrocketed. They transition for different reasons than I do. They are a completely new cohort. And to come back to your question.
So that means that your experience is not relevant to these children.
About medical research, I am tremendously, I don't want to say I want to stop it, but I think we need to make really sure that this is serving them, because it does not seem like it does in many cases.
This is her being like, oh, I got this.
A lot of these kids with autism, like for me, I transitioned, I went out, I got a job, my life got much better, became, pay taxes.
She's not. He is not.
Ran for office, all that stuff.
It's
a
not.
lot of them literally sit online in these trans communities all day talking to each other.
So then we should safeguard against that type of that type of thing. Hold your horses.
I, Brianna Wu, cannot evaluate what's going on with them, but I can say they're having a different trajectory than I did. So if you're a parent and you have a child with autism, my God, would my suggestion to you to be go really slowly and make sure whatever healthcare you.
But make sure you do it before puberty. Again, you're. It's both sides. Whatever is more convenient in the moment. You have no principle behind this. All right, and then the last one will go to Alex's girlfriend. Oh, was it Rachel? Yeah, no, Rachel.
There's enthusiasm.
Can you at least admit that it is?
They're both for Brianna.
We've been down this.
All right.
Hi.
Or just
My
gotta hear
question,
the
I have
propaganda.
Make sure you guys join the Discord. The link is pinned at the top of the chat, and the after party, we are headed as soon as we are done here.
2 questions. Sort of. They're both for Brianna. I am on the side though that I think that you should leave children out of all kinds of these conversations. You should not you shouldn't give them hormones or anything
Alex Stein, well done, sir.
like that, specifically not in schools. I think that's a really big deal. But my first question is, do you think that you are a woman?
I think that trans women are really our own thing, right? I think if you put a gun to my head and say there are 2 things, I think I'm closer to one than anything. But I mean, I can't menstruate. I can't have children. I missed a lot of the social stuff growing up. No, I don't think so. But I think that I'm much more authentically female than I am male.
Okay, because thank you for saying that, because I think today specifically it is a huge issue where trans women are seen as a biological, which I hate even saying that word, woman, because you're right.
Yeah.
You don't have a period, you don't have boobs, you're never gonna be able to be pregnant. So that's very frustrating as a woman to see online constantly. But then my second question, and then I'm done.
Can I just say one thing? I would never call you a biological woman. I would call you a normal woman. I think trans women are the abnormal women.
Oh, beast!
In my view. So.
And my last question is though, is that how we're kind of talking about like deviant behavior and all, that kind of stuff. It is a direct quote that you say, and I certainly don't tell every man I kiss or go on a date with about this, the fact that you used to be a man. So don't you think that that is kind of deviant, that you wouldn't tell someone that?
I don't know this quote.
Well, I found it online. It
You
was.
might want to look into that. Yeah.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
do you?
You mean like the other one that you didn't say, right? You definitely didn't say anything about being a GP, right? You might want to look into it. That's called a lie.
Do you think that that's okay though? To you don't
No.
not have to
No.
tell your partner, whoever you're going on a date
So you did what you think is not okay.
with, that you didn't used to be a man.
I don't. I mean, I've been married for 17 years.
That's not the question. I mean, we can say whatever we want, but this definitely speaks like a woman. Just answer the fucking question. Nobody asked if you were married. The question was, have you done this in the past?
But no, I don't think that's a good practice. Do you know who Gwen Arujo is?
No.
Gwen Arujo was a trans woman that was taken by some men she didn't tell she was trans with, and they took her and brutally.
Worst surprise ever. Oh, man. Dylan said, oh, no, I think you can tell she used to be a man. That's on you, my guy, for not seeing that. Whoa. At no point did I say, oh, that looks like a man, or that looks like a woman. Roll the tape back, hear what I said, and realize how this is a complete. You're talking like a woman now. That has nothing to do with what I just said.
Taken by some men she didn't tell she was trans with, and they took her and brutally murdered her over several days in an attic, torturing her to death, which was really terrifying. And I think men can be really violent on this. So I think
So now it's men's problem because 4 dudes or whatever. Like, but we can't generalize about the transes. I can't take it anymore. So we are headed to the after party. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out with us, guys. You know how much I appreciate you guys being here. I know you could be doing anything else in the world, but you are here at this party, and we are raging. Thank you so very, very much. Before we go, we got 2 things. We got to shout out our boys, the donations. Thank you so very, very much. Look at it. Just look at it. Thank you so very, very much. We got a gifted membership. We had Trey coming in. And then, of course, our boy, as always, Funk Master General. Yeah, all right. We'll give you one more. There you go. And guys, you know what time it is, right? You know. Let's fucking get it done. 20 push-ups. Let's do it. Get swole. Get swole. 20 push-ups. Good luck. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. There we go. Who paid themselves? Whoever. Oh yeah. Yikes. Good job, guys. Thank you so very, very much. You guys, I mean, I can't express how much I appreciate you. And even it was a rough week, not a rough weekend, but just a lot. It was a lot this weekend. And I just could not come and hang out with you guys. So I really do appreciate it, as does Morty, for all of the treats, of course. Big shout out to, again, our sponsor, Funk Master General. And a big thank you to anybody who came through, who donated. If you hit the like button, any of those things, guys, all adds together. It really does help. So thank you so much. Again, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe. I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's head over to the after party. Until then, once again, this. Oh, sorry, bud. I just hit Morty in the face, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.